Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. I didn't actually think that I would be able to stream today, but then I was. Yeah, that's the whole story. Alright, we have 78 of these bad boys left to get through, starting with the R's. And, progressing to the Z's. There's only one Z though. There's a few Y's though. It's actually, yeah, those all Y's go down. Alright, there's a good bit of Y's. There's even some W's. No X's though. No X's. Alright. Was there something else I was gonna say? I don't think so. Alright. Oh, right, I was. Actually, I'm not gonna say it because they already left, but my boy DP followed. Thanks, I guess, if you ever see this. Oh, wait, maybe they're here, 2 viewers? I don't know. Thank you for following, if you are here. If you're not, then, I don't know, maybe you'll see this one day. So, Radiant is bad. Yeah, I have no sympathy for this show. I dropped it after Poor. I don't even remember how it was. It like maybe 7? Maybe 7. Hang on, I need to. It's really hot, and I made a terrible choice of attire, so I had to change that out. Let me actually check what temperature we're at. Oh, it's gonna get hotter. It's gonna get hotter, guys, as we progress. Why does it do this? I thought 2 p.m. was meant to be the hottest time of day. But it's consistently been fucking like 6 all summer. Was I just mistaken and it's always been 6 is meant to be the hottest time? Because it's always fucking 6. 6 is always the hottest point of the day. Alright. I wish whoever made this fucking compilation of MapleStory music made it a bit more consistent. Am I gonna have to fucking change the volume every goddamn new song because it's all over the place in terms of volume? Alright. Like, even this is, like, still a bit too loud. Like, goddamn, it's like, fucking A. It's really pushing right up against the frickin' slider. Yeah, so Radiant's piece of shit. I dropped it after like 5 or 6 episodes, I think. It added promise because it like started out with like a semi-interesting world, and I was like, okay, this could become something. And there's like a mentor chick that tells main boy like, hey, you need to go, like, here's the overall goal. To get started on that, go to like this training place, this like town, and he like goes to the town. And he meets some other mentor that he's gonna have. And then just nothing happens. They just fuck around and have episodic adventures in this town. And I'm like, what about the overall goal? That seemed interesting. Isn't this meant to be an adventure? It's like, no. It's just bullshit fucking around in a town with episodic stuff happening that's not interesting. And it's just like, okay. You need to, like... That wasn't... Like... like that... It's like when you're playing a video game and you go do all the side quests. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, the plot is still happening and it's urgent and you need to go take care of that like as fast as you can. But instead you go fuck off and do a bunch of side quests. But that's the show. The show is just like, it's just fucking off doing whatever in some random town. And it's like, okay, this makes no sense. And it's boring and bad and stupid. And so I dropped it because it was basically nothing. a non-existent show, and the world would be better if it was never created. Real Romanesque, that can go in here with all the other. I have no strong opinion on this show, so it just is meh. That's what D is. D's the meh tier. Less than mid, but not bad, you know? But yeah, Real Romanesque, is an interesting, like, it's like it's a visual novel, right? Right? Okay, no, I think this is something different from those train girls. Maybe, I don't know, the main girl looks similar. Maybe it's not based off the VN. Yeah, no, I don't think it is. But it's train girls. It's train girls. It's girls that are trains. And it's a short, so it's like 6 minutes per episode or something. And it's just like the first episode just introduces all these train girls. And then every episode has 2 of the train girls talk about merch that you can buy in real life. And then that's it. Each episode is just 2 train girls saying, hey, buy this merch. And that's the show. So the show is just buy train merch. At these different... You go to this station to buy it, and it's this... This is the merch item, and this is what it means or relates to. There you go. And I'm sure if you live in Japan and are really into trains, that is a convenient ad. But even then, it's still just an ad. So it's like, I don't know. The train girls are kind of cute, I guess. But it's an ad. It literally is an ad. Marketed to literally just the train otaku. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. Like, but the thing is, even if you are, I feel like there's no value still beyond it being an ad. It's like, oh, okay, now I know where to go and to buy it, which they probably already knew because they probably saw it on Twitter or some shit first. It's like, I don't know. It just feels very, even if you're into it, it can't have much more value than an ad and kind of cute girls. That's like it. I mean, I don't know. You can make an there are plenty of most anime are ads in the end. But still, you know, I feel like you could tell an interesting story and still fucking sell trains with train girls. I like train girls. But whatever. All right. Oh boy. Railgun. You guys ready for a hot take? You guys ready for another special Aira hot take served piping hot? C. C for Railgun. Look, I know a lot of fucking people love Railgun. And I imagine most people would put it in A, or even S. I'm also putting it lower than the index, which I'm sure most people find very insulting. Where'd I put index? Didn't I put it in A? Please don't tell me I put it... Where did I put index? Where's index also in C? Where's index? Why can't I see it? So many anime pictures. I can't distinguish them. There it is. There's index. Yeah, index is in B. Railgun's in C. Sorry, Railgun fans. Yeah, Railgun's not great. It's got a lot of boring stuff in it. It's got a lot of doing arcs that were already done in Index, but now you see it from Mikasa's perspective. Whoa. That's not really repetitive and boring and makes me want to stop watching. Yeah, and then the rest is just like boring stuff. There's a lot of boring episodes. Railgun has a lot of boring episodes. That's the problem. And the arc's like, it's like an arc that like was a perfectly fine length in Index and did have parts that were just exclusively from Mikasa's perspective, entire scenes, and even sometimes entire episodes and stuff. And it's like, that was fine. That was good pacing. You got to see a whole range of characters, and now it's like, okay, now rewatch those parts that you already saw from Mikasa's perspective, but now see the other parts that you filled in, already, but again, from Mikasa's perspective. So now there's like no pacing, there's no showing other characters or perspective. It's like, so now it's just all focused on her, and it's like, that's a little stupid. They also try way too hard to make there be cool fights between people with powers, but the show is pretty bad at doing that, which, I mean, if you watch Index, you can kind of see how the show is not great at using powers to do interesting fights. It's good at coming up with interesting powers and interesting ways to keep doing stories forever, because you can just make any power and then have that be a story. But, when it comes to having fights between them, they're really not that interesting. They're kind of boring and go on a bit too long, honestly. And there's not really that much creative use of the powers either, to be perfectly honest. It's pretty boring and flat. I like the characters, Uehara and Saten, I think that's the name, who, you know, who are mostly only in Railgun. They're really cool. I like both of them a lot, but yeah, Railgun's just boring most of the time. There's a lot of boring shit. And a lot of just following Mikasa doing the shit we already saw her do in Index. So, yeah, I don't know. It also just goes on for way too long. It's not great. It's not great. Like, Railgun, like, I think it's like there's one arc in Season 1 of Railgun that isn't filler. And then in Season 2, there's, like, 2 arcs that aren't filler, but one of them is half the show and is just doing what Index did in a way shorter time and in a much less interesting way, and also has repeated scenes from Index. I dropped Season 2 of Railgun. I finished the first season, then I dropped the second one because it was boring me and I had no motivation to get it done, so I'm like, yeah, this sucks, and I just dropped it. It's got good animation, it's got cool, like I said, I really like the characters, but like, it's not really that great. Index is better. Fuck you, fight me. Hey, Femboy Fritos is here again. You showed up way earlier this time. Last time you missed like, I don't know, an hour or something. This time you've only missed like 10 minutes. Remain. Where do I want to put Remain? I like Remain. Maybe B? I think B. If I could break it up a bit more, I'd like, I don't know, give it a B plus if there were like multiple B tiers, but there's only one, so I just don't think it's quite good enough to get into A. But Remain's pretty good. It came out the year that just ended, 2021, so it's a new one for the tier list this time. Remains weird. It's a weird one. Well, it's weird at first. Like, when I first... So, I was like, yo, water polo sports anime, that'll be hype. And then I watched it, and it was kind of weird at first, because, like, main character loses his memory right at the start. Well, rather, he wakes up from a coma, and he's lost 1 year of memories from... No, he's lost 3 years of memories from before the coma happened, and it's been 1 year since he went in the coma. So his memories are 4 years behind reality, and also has been out of commission for a year. And so he doesn't even remember starting water polo, because he's only been playing it for 3 years, but he was like a total fucking champ, ace at it. But he doesn't remember any of that. He doesn't remember any of his teammates. He doesn't remember ever playing the sport. He doesn't even remember the rules of the sport. And so he decides he's not going to play it. And it's typical... It's the typical sports story. You know, guy doesn't want to play a sport anymore, so he goes to a school that doesn't have the sport, that doesn't have a club for that sport, but then someone recognizes him and is like, hey, I'm trying to start that club, and they recruit him, and then he has to help this underdog school that used to be good but isn't good anymore because the club's been out of commission for a number of years. But they're gonna do good now because they got this ace guy and he decides to play again, even though he originally decided not to. That happens all the time. This is very common for that to happen in sports anime. It's the same thing here. Nothing, nothing too trend breaking here, really. It just, yeah, it's one of those. There's like 3 different kinds of sports anime that, and every sports anime follows one of those. This is the one that follows. It's a little more interesting because he has actually forgot his memories, so his skill level is like completely reset. It's not like he's like actually as good as he used to be, because he doesn't even remember any of it. So whenever the show goes on, he eventually gets his memory back, because of course he does. But that's the part that actually makes the show interesting. Like him getting his memory back makes the show way more interesting, because he was an arsehole. And when he gets his memories back, he of course forgets the 1 year since he woke up from the coma. I don't even think it's been a year. It's been like maybe 8 months or something. I don't know. It's been like kind of close to a year, but not a full year. Like it hasn't even been a full school year. Also, for some reason, they sent him to high school, even though he's forgotten for 3 years. So he forgot everything about middle school, but they for some reason sent him to high school. I don't get why you'd do that. I guess you're hoping he'll get his memories back, but why would you send a guy who only has memories of finishing like primary school? Why would you send him to high school? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's weird. Anyway, but yeah, once he gets his memories back, it's interesting because he still has to play for this like lesser team, and he becomes an asshole again, where he's like, "Oh, I'm an ace. I'm better than all you pieces of shit." And he, but then he slowly gets better. He gets better by actually hanging out with these people and training with them, and he helps them get better by giving them actual training, because he's like a pro. And then he has to fight his old school, and so there's a lot of interesting rivalries that are set up now that he has his memories back. And it turns out everyone else in the class kind of hated him. Everyone else in his old team kind of hated him. In like a, we hate that you're so much better than us and you're an asshole to us kind of way. And like in a, not in like a hate him as a person kind of way, hate him as a player kind of way, I guess. I don't know, but they respect the fact that they can win because of him. But yeah, anyway, it's just really nice. It's nice seeing this, like, it's pretty generic and boring, and then once he gets his memory back, it like actually becomes interesting, because he just starts being a total antagonist to his fucking allies, but slowly learns to like get better and actually become slightly nicer, and also realize the value of his actual teammates. And in the final game, everyone like gets a chance to make a shot. Also, the captain of the team has a really good emotional arc. He has this whole thing with like his father, where his mom died, and then his dad, and then like him and his dad never really like got along that well, but they obviously care about each other. And so his dad like tried to like cook for him every day, and then the son started eating like instant ramen for dinner before his dad got home from work to help him. He was trying to help him. He's like, "Oh, you don't, you won't have to cook for me and deal with that if I do this." But then his dad thought that he just hated his cooking and didn't want to eat his food, so that's why he was doing it. And so now he just like that's still what they do. He still eats cup ramen for like dinner every day, and his dad just doesn't cook for him, and the two like never interact, and the dad kind of thinks the son hates him, but he doesn't. And the son just doesn't have the guts to like change the status quo or tell his dad like, "Hey, I'm playing water polo," because his dad also used to be a water polo champ at the same school. But then he does. He tells him the day of the final game. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm playing water polo for the school, and also I'm gonna go to the game now. Okay, bye." And his dad's like, "What?" Yeah, and then he shows up at the final game to watch him, because the captain's like the only other person that's like actually good at the sport. When the guy gets his memory back, he sees like the captain being the goalie. He's like, "Yeah, okay, you're actually good. Everyone else, you need to fucking work on your shit." Yeah, that's a really good emotional arc. Actually, everyone in Remain has really great emotional arcs. It like it seems so. Those first few episodes seem so like weird and bad, but once he gets his memory back, once all the other characters start getting really into their drama and their emotional arcs and all the different ways people are linked and everything like comes into play, it's really good. It's the characters and their relations are really the highlight of it. It starts out not great, but gets really good. Um, ReZero is a D. This is just season 1. I haven't seen season 2. Or that prequel thing that also came out. That, like, movie length OVA. I think it was movie length, at least. I don't know, I haven't fucking seen it. ReZero is not great. I'm really not fond of it. Again, I guess this is kind of a hot take. But maybe not. ReZero is one of those ones where there are a lot of people that like it, but I think there's also a lot of people who are like me, who are kind of like more meh on it, or actively dislike it. Heck, I've even heard people that love the show and praise it up and down go, oh no, but if I'm being realistic, it's a B tier. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like with them thinking, yes, there is an S. And so they don't even think it's worthy of A when there's an S. They're like, oh no, it's B. It's like, okay, so you do think it's like a 7 at best. Like, even people that I've seen online who like praise it endlessly say that. But then a few years later they change their mind and say it is a masterpiece because then you get more views on YouTube. That's not a specific comment at a specific YouTuber at all who changed their mind just to get more views. Yeah, ReZero is D tier because it's really not that great. It's very boring. The problem with ReZero is that it kind of expects you to like get it. Like, it kind of expects you to be on it to be on its level. Like, if you care about the characters, I'm sure it's great. But if you don't, it's very bad, very boring, very slow. There's just a lot of nonsense that happens that's like silly and isn't very good. And the time travel save mechanic nonsense isn't really that interesting or unique anyway. And yeah, and all the characters are just like weird and silly and bad. And the show's the pacing, don't even get me started on the terrible pacing of this fucking show. And yeah, it's a lot of characters just talking to each other and yelling at each other and saying, I feel this way, and then the other character goes, and I feel this way. And the other character goes, but I feel this way. And then the other one goes, but I feel this way. Episode end. And then do it all again next episode, but maybe with different characters. And as I said, if you're into the characters, I'm sure that's great. You get it. You're like, oh, so much emotion, so much drama. I'm so engaged, and I'm sure you are. But as someone who doesn't care for the characters, it's just a bunch of people yelling. I enjoyed it, but I can see why you didn't like it. Yeah, it's mainly just, that's the thing. Like, it's very, very dependent on you, like, being into the characters. You know? I'm more of a whole package kind of guy. I'm more of an ideas guy, you know? I'm rather a whole thing kind of coming together and being good to get me into it. Which ReZero, I don't know, it just fails in a lot of small ways that built up over time across... Again, I haven't seen season 2, so against the visit. There's some good episodes. The directing and cinematography in particular, is actually really good. Some pretty kino fucking moments in there. It has its moments, but like, overall, it just kind of falls apart for me, because it's very much like, be engaged with the emotions of these people, and I'm just not there. It can't pull me into that level, and so I lose interest when it just becomes people talk about their feelings. Here is... What is this? MMO junkie? Recovery of an MMO junkie? MMO addict? Whatever. It's fine. C, I guess. It was I remember liking it a lot when it aired, but I don't know. It hasn't stayed good in my mind. Maybe I would have. I don't know. I don't remember if did I do a tier list like shortly after this came out, or was it still like a year or so before I did one? Maybe it was still quite a while by the time I did my first tier list. I can't remember, but it like because this is my fourth one. Third yearly one though, because the first one I did was in the middle of the year, and I'm like, you know, the end of the year would be a better spot to have a yearly recurring tier list. But yeah, I can't remember. But the thing is, I'm sure I've placed it higher in the past, because I do remember really liking it when it came out, and like it was a thing I talked about often with Toast and many other people online, and I posted, you know, screenshots and stuff, and I was into it. I was like into it when it was airing, but I don't know, something about like just over time it's just kind of faded. I guess it just didn't have the staying power. The quality is a little low in like the animation department and stuff like that, which isn't really a problem for it directly, but it does mean that when I think back on it, I'm like, it wasn't really that pretty, was it? Yeah, I don't know. MMO Junkie's fine. It's just hasn't had the staying power because I don't really have any fond memories of it. Maybe the fact that the director was a Nazi and got fired and posts a bunch of Nazi shit in English on his Twitter is affecting my remembering of the show and making me like it less, possibly, because that's always the first thing when I think of the show. I'm like, oh yeah, the one directed by a Nazi. He got really popular on Twitter by posting behind the scenes stuff from the show. It got him a bunch of followers, and then once he had a bunch of followers, he started just posting a bunch of Nazi shit in English. It was really weird, and then he got fired. And there was also a bunch of English anime fans in his responses saying how correct he was, and I was like, ooh, this is unfortunate. I always forget how many Nazis there are in the anime community, but that's also because the anime community is huge now. It was bound to happen. But yeah, I don't know, it's alright. It's alright, but I don't really think fondly back on it, so it's kind of just faded with time. Oh, this one. This one. I think this would go down, like, here. I need to, like... do that, I guess. D is an it's not like a, you know, not organized horizontally, but it is in its own weird way. It's like, it's broken up into categories instead of any actual organization. Like, from Hiroaka to Gunslinger Girl, it's like inconsistent quality. Hypnosis Mike over to like Knights of Sidonia is like, this is like the section of like things I just don't really remember that well. These first ones are just like things that I just genuinely think are D's, but for like normal reasons, and then these are the ones I think are like D's for like I hate them reasons. Except for like these two here. These two here are like, I don't know, they're weird fringe cases where I like them, but I put them in D anyway. Here's the thing, this is like, I can't even remember what this is called. It's called like Regalia the Three Sacred Stars or some shit. It's a show where there are lollies, and they have older sisters. No, they have young... The main girl, the lolly, is the older sister, but I think with all the other pairs, it's that the lolly is the younger sister. They have sisters, though, basically, and the lollies turn into mechs, and then the other sister pilots the mech that is their sister lolly, but also all the lollies are aliens, which is why they turn into mechs. Quite the concept, I know. You think it would be funny and silly, but it's not, because it takes itself very seriously. And it tries to have all these dark, deep moments that just don't work very well. It's not a great show. I only think it's kind of funny and have fond memories of it because I watched it with a friend. We just kind of sat down one day at my place, and he was just like, hey, there's this show. And I was like, yep, that's a show. And then he's like, it's got Yuri Kubo in it. And I'm like, alright, whatever, let's watch it. And we watched it. just because it seemed dumb, and it was dumb, but I have some fond memories of it, specifically because I watched it with a friend. But in terms of how I feel about the show, I really do feel it's a D. But I mean, I did have a good time watching it, because I was watching it with a friend. There's a big twist at one moment, and, you know, we did the whole, oh, shit, freak out thing that, is silly and absurd, but it, you know, it's a good time. It's just having fun. But I mean, that's all I really remember about the show, is having fun with my friend while watching it. But overall, it's not great. It's very dumb. It's a very dumb show. Real Life, I have to give a C. Yeah, I'll give it a C. Early on, Real Life was definitely an A, or at least a B, possibly an A. Early on, because it was like really good. It started out really good, and it stayed really good for quite a while. I can't remember when exactly it was. Maybe it was the midpoint, or a bit after the midpoint. It started to get not as good for me, and I mean, the last episode was really nice. And then there were more episodes added later that I haven't actually watched. So this is just like the first season, but not even like all of the first like airing, which is like 12 or 15 episodes, because then there was like an OVA that added 1 episode, and then another one that added like 3 episodes, and then there was like another season or something. I don't know. I lost track of what was happening with Real Life, because I just watched the first airing, like a batch that came out. Because like all of season 1 dropped on Crunchyroll at once, and then it aired in Japan. But as soon as the first episode was aired in Japan, it was all dropped on Crunchyroll. If you were premium, you could watch it all. So that's how I watched it. But yeah, I can't remember at like what point, but at one point it started to get like less interesting for me. It was mainly after the side girl chick's arc ended, and then this other chick revealed that she was also an older person that was taking the pill that lets you be younger, for I can't remember what reason. After like all that's done, it's like everything that was interesting about the show is settled and done, and then it just goes into kind of arc stuff I don't care about. Like everything that like happened after that, I didn't really care. Like I said, the last episode was nice. It's a very typical last episode, you know, culture festival, people watch the fireworks. No, not culture festival, summer festival. Natsuhi Matsuri, no. Matsuri. Natsu Matsuri. And I watch fireworks, and it's great, it's whatever. But yeah, I put it in C because it started out really good, but then it just kind of became middling towards the end, which is why I haven't watched anymore. I'm not sure if it would even be good. I have a very weird relationship with Real Life. When I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that show did start out good, but for some reason I don't have positive feelings about it. I don't know. It was weird. I think I watched that in a weird time. In terms of, like, a weird time of my life. Oh, boy, here we fucking go. Remake Our Lives. This might have to be a D. I'll put it in C for now. Remake Our Lives is something else. You guys ready for a fucking rant? Holy shit. Alright, this show's wild. This show, you know what? I'm gonna consult my notes. And by notes I mean posts I made in another Discord server. So, okay, Remake Our Lives. It's like about a dude bro. He's a dude bro who is like jumping from job to job, failing video game companies is basically his shebang. And then he gets a job at a pretty good one, but then the project he's working on gets cancelled, and so he's just like completely miserable. He's like, man, life sucks. And he wishes he could go back in time, and then he does, and he goes back in time to when he got like a note where he could go to art, like an acceptance note from a really prestigious art university. But he was pressured by like his friends and by trying to be realistic to not go to the art school and to instead go to a more like a business university or whatever and get a more normal degree, even though he then ended up working at games companies and not doing well. And so he figured, hey, I'll go to this art one. There's like this generation of people called the Platinum Gen, and all of them went to that same university at the same time that he would have gone, so this time he gets to meet them. And of course, he gets put in a share house with all of them, and so it's all the Platinum Gen people plus him in this share house. And it's like, of course that would happen. So anyway, and then the show's just weird. So, because like, so what I wanted it to be was I wanted it to be that as the show progressed, it would be like a dark timeline, basically, where like he would realize that like because he is there, he stuffs it up and he gets to be successful, and the Platinum Gen doesn't. And I said that like this. Here's the thing: it does eventually happen in the show, but I was calling it like hoping that would happen before it happens. But the problem is that when it does happen, first of all, it's not as dark as it seems. As it should be. Like, not everyone is as fucked up. Like, in the end, he gets sad that he, like, ruined everyone's life, but then they're all like, actually, I'm fine. And then he's like, oh, okay, they're fine. They don't mind that I ruined their life. That's good. And he also keeps getting to be the perfect dude, bro, who, like, always knows what to do and has the situation for he can always do it. Everyone relies on him because he can always do it. He's such a reliable guy. Which is why he's failing as an adult, yeah. But, he does that, he, like, he basically goes, like, a time jump forward, basically, at one point, and he sees this dark timeline for a handful of episodes, and he solves some issues there, and then once he solved those issues, it's like, okay, none of that mattered, because now you're gonna go back to when you were in, university again, and you're going to continue this timeline, but you can stop it from becoming this timeline that you're in now. And so he goes back again to, like, where the show left off and he jumped forward. And he's like, alright, this time I'm going to make sure the Platinum Gem become the Platinum Gem, while also making sure that I get to be successful. So basically just his original goal, but now he realizes he was doing it wrong up till then. And yeah, the show's not great for a myriad of different reasons. There's a lot of, like, small episode-to-episode details that piss me off, which is why I'm going to consult the notes. So, at some point, I said, the harem-esque nonsense in Remake Our Life is really dragging the show down for me. It's been a small element for a while, but they keep ramping it up, and I'm not a fan of it. Especially since, Kyoya, who's the main man, is so inconsistent about it. Man goes to kiss Shinoaki last episode without prompt, but now he's all like, ooh, I don't like either of them that way though, and is also now back to typical anime guy who freaks out at the slightest touch. Like, you're an adult, dude. Is a girl just out of high school hugging you really worthy of gasping and being left speechless? Like, that's what happened. One of the girls that he's with, who is fresh out of high school, mind you, comes up behind him and hugs him. That's it. She's, like, kind of sad. She's feeling down, so she hugs him from behind, and he goes like, like typical anime bullshit. He's like gasping and he like can barely breathe and he's like, oh my god. It's like, you're an adult. Why is this child hugging you freaking you out so much? Calm down, bro. Because as I said again, last episode, so 2 episodes ago, the episode ended with the other chick kissing him. There's like a love triangle basically. Actually, like I said, it's basically like a harem. Everyone fucking loves this guy because he's just the coolest dude that can always solve the case. But so kissed him, and then the next episode he's like, oh, I guess we're together, so I can like kiss her, right? And he like went to kiss her at one point without prompt, but then got interrupted. But then the next episode he's like, oh, I don't like either of them. It's like, why'd you try to kiss her then, bro? Why'd you try to kiss her last episode and act like you were together with her? What do you mean you don't like either of them? What does that mean? And then when the other one hugs him, he's a fucking Chad before, but now he's just like, oh my god, a girl hugged me from behind who's like 18. I can barely handle this. It's like, what the fuck? Also, he talks to another character, and he's like, oh, you know, we're making this game, me and my friends, we're making this game, but it's like, it's a problem because both of them like me, and I keep not telling them if I like either one, but I also don't want to tell them that I don't like either of them, because I'm worried it'll, like, ruin the game development. And Kawasagawa, this is the chick's name, says the right thing to him. She tells him off, she's like, oh, you need to quit all this wishy-washy nonsense. It's bullshit. You're a dirtbag. She like punches him and slaps him, but then and then she goes to like walk off, right? She goes to walk off, but then she stops and she turns around, and then she's like, "Oh, but it's okay, I guess. I mean, actually, you should keep doing it for now because you don't want the game development to be ruined. So do it for now. But as soon as the game development ends, you gotta fix this. But for now, just let it keep happening. Just like it. She said the right thing. She told him off. But then she goes back on it and she's like, actually, keep being a generic piece of shit harem anime protagonist. I don't care, actually, that I just told you you're a wishy-washy dirtbag and hit you. That meant nothing, actually. Just keep doing what you're doing. And that's the thing, like, the romance is, like, it's, like, barely a non-entity at the start. But then the one chick kisses him and it's like, alright, now it's a harem, boys. It's like, oh, fuck me, dead, bro. It's, I'm sorry. I hate it. I hate it. Now let's go consult another note. That wasn't all just me reading the notes. That's more like me consulting them, and then telling you how I feel by having these as like a refreshers. So what's this one? Yeah, but I'm still holding out hope for my crazy idea that he just ruined the platinum gen and that it is the outcome. Come on, show. Have the balls to do it. It did not have the balls to do it. Okay, I basically said nothing that matters in that one. It was just me complaining that the show isn't getting as dark as I wanted. I can't believe how much I fucking called it. Oh yeah, the show also has a go out and have sex and have kids vibes, as all anime does at this point. There's like a whole like episode that's just like, yeah, look how good it is to have a kid and have a wife and have a job and support your family and have kids, please, just please fucking have kids. Oh my god. Yeah. Where did I complain more about it? There was like another thing I like complained about at some point. I think the regression, blah 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 blah. And then did I say anything after this one? I did. Generic and expected. I do think that's what will happen. Normal happy ending, yeah, and that's what did happen. Yeah. Yeah, and the main guy's just like the coolest dude ever in the world. Like, he can solve any issue. It's Shinzo Abe, please have kids noises. Yeah, basically. I see you, Shinzo Abe. I see you there, trying to tell me to have kids. But, Darling and the Franks did that a lot too, actually. But yeah, basically, like, I just hate the way the main character is able to solve all their problems. Because, again, they existed without him in the past. Like, when he's not there, they still became the Platinum Generation. But then when he shows up, they're like, oh, we forgot to, like, bring this thing for, a project we have to do. And he's like, it's fine. I got this, guys. We'll do it this way. Whoa, I've solved the case. And then they're like, oh my god. And then that makes it better, and they get, like, a higher grade. And it's like, whoa, he's so good. And it's like, is he, though? like, these people are meant to be prodigies, and he's, like, meant to be just some dude. But he's the main character, so he's super cool and can do anything. And also at one point, you know, a guy's having money troubles, and it's all because of him and his big plan that they get enough money to keep him in the share house, and that he's able to keep going to the university. But it's like, you weren't here. What happened in the normal timeline when you weren't here? This guy still went to this college, he still got the money somehow. All you've done is, like, intervened and made yourself become the hero when it was originally someone else, or maybe they did it themselves. Which is why it does have that temporary dark timeline, where it's like, oh, you didn't let them foster their creativity, they all relied on you too much, now they're all just normal people. And it's like, great, but then again, the show doesn't have the balls to stick with that, so instead it's like, but you can fix this by going back, and this time, doing it right. And it's like, oh god. Like, if the show just didn't skip forward, it just kept going, and he slowly over time just ruined all of them, and you saw how all of them regressed into not being the Platinum Gen, and then he tried to save it, but it was too late. And so then he was, like, successful, but he, like, hated it because he ruined all of their fucking lives for the sake of his own. And then the show ended on that note. That would have been a show that I would have fucking respected. That's a show with some balls, not this nonsense. Also take out all the harem bullshit and take out people telling him that it's okay for him to be a harem protagonist. That shit needs to go. Here we have Rent a Girlfriend. This is probably also a C. Rent a Girlfriend's like main good aspect is cute girls. Very, very cute girls. The manga artist definitely knows what's up. Variety of cute outfits that all of them wear. Apparently he that manga artist just like looks through fashion magazines all the time to find characters to find outfits to put the girls into, which makes total sense because they're all super fashionable and adorable and cute, and I want one. But that's about it. The main character kind of sucks. I talked about this earlier, how people have like a problem where like if the main character sucks, they're like, oh, I can't enjoy the show because I can't relate to the main protagonist. Again, I said I don't have that problem, so I don't mind that he's a piece of shit. It's really what facilitates the story. The fact that he's a wimp and, like, a chronic masturbator and, like, all this other stuff is, like, so fucking, like, key to the show. Like, it just wouldn't be the same if he wasn't a total wuss. Like, you can't... He rents a fucking girlfriend, for Christ's sake. What do you want? You want him to be some Chad, but then he's renting a girlfriend? No. And someone who's in a better position than him would just get their own girlfriend. He kind of has to be a loser for the show to happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just like this guy and this girl, and you know, he rents her, but then he needs to pretend she's real to a bunch of people, and then they construct this big web of lies, and they eventually get so caught up in it that they basically become psychos who can't even fucking feel emotions or live life straight because they're constructing lies. That's not the point of the show, though. You're not meant to notice that. It's just like that naturally happens because it has to, because they're lying all the time. And that's funny to notice because it's definitely not the intention of the author to show how bad this situation is. I don't know, it's like meant to be a romance or some shit, but I'm just like, I just like seeing how like unintentionally he's revealed the very sad truth. This is actually a terrible thing, and I wouldn't want to experience this at all. Even though he maybe kind of will get to fuck his rental girlfriend one day. Which is also not a great lesson to teach, because rental girlfriends are a real thing in Japan. And also it's basically a step away from being a prostitute. So maybe if you fuck your prostitute enough, you'll be able to date her too, bro. In real life. Very terrible thing to teach. Because it's also, I mean, he's paying her the whole time. It's very weird. It's a very strange show, the way it, like, I don't know, tries to, like, make it like, this is a cute romance, and it's like, no! It's a rickety house made of lies. Pillars of salt and sand. This thing's gonna come crashing down eventually. Because plus he also has this chick here actually likes the main character. And even propositions him for sex. And he says no. It's like, just date her. Just have this real girl. There's a girl that likes you. Just date her. Why you keep being like, oh, but I like my rental girlfriend more. She doesn't love you, bro. You're fucking paying her. Get with the girl that actually likes you, and that you even admit is cute and makes you blush, and who is propositioning you for sex. Fucking just date her, bro. Why you gotta be weirdo about it? It's a weird show. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's mainly because, yeah, it's just a bunch of fucking idiots that are dumb pieces of shit, and the show is constantly trying to be cute, but is instead showing something that is very horrific and terrible, that I put it in C, because, yeah, it's just weird. It's just very strange. I like watching it for that, but it doesn't mean I'm going to put it higher than a C. The only good thing is that, yes, the girls are extremely cute and have very, they wear a variety of very cute and good clothing. I mean, that's the main thing. The main point is cute girls. That's the only reason I watched all the way to the end, because each episode I'm like, hey, cute girls. I can look at that for 23 minutes. You made me realize how bad this show is. That's the thing. It's not the author's intention, so I feel like it's easy to miss, but there's so much weird little shit. Like, at one point, the main guy sees the girl he's with walking with another guy. Like, she's on a rental date with him. And he has like, you think, oh, this will be a big moment for him. Maybe he'll be like, holy shit, right, she rents, like, I'm not the only guy she's seeing. This is another rental boyfriend. Like, and then maybe he'll have a revelation. But instead, he's like, he has the worst possible reaction, which is no reaction. He feels nothing. He's just like, oh, looks like she's on a date with another guy. I better skedaddle so she doesn't see me. It's like, excuse me? That's his reaction. That's how he feels about it. It's like, what? He, like, doesn't care. It's like, okay, yeah, you're a psycho. You're a psycho. You literally don't care. It's like, oh, this girl I'm in love with is dating someone else? Well, that's just perfectly normal. I'm gonna be over here. It's like, excuse me? And there's just a whole bunch of, like, little scenes like that, or where the lie just gets more and more elaborate, and it's like nothing normal can happen. It's just like, you need to get out of this situation. This is a very terrible situation you're all in. He also becomes also main chick basically becomes a pimp at one point. She's like, hey, I got there's this new girl doing the rental girlfriend thing. I need you, cause you're a pro, I need you to break her in for me. Can you go on a date with this new girl who's doing the girlfriend thing? And it's like this really sweet, cute, innocent girl, Sumi, who is the best girl in the show. And it's just weird. It's like, yeah, no, get her out of here. What are you doing? Tell her to leave. Why are you like, hey, guy who rents me a bunch, can you go also rent this other girl and take her on a rental date so that she can, like, get better at doing it? It's like, what the fuck is this? This is weird. Tell her to leave. She shouldn't have this job. Get her out of this horrible situation. Don't drag her into your shit. It's a weird. It's weird. I'll watch the second season. Don't get me wrong, I'll fucking watch it because I want to see more of this nonsense. But I ain't giving it more than a C, that's for sure. Aggressive Retsuko, specifically the Netflix one. See? I don't know. Agretsuko's alright. I know a lot of people really like it. And I do kind of like it. But I think C for me. I've only seen the first season and then the Christmas special that they did. I think there's like 3 or 4 seasons now. I don't know. There's like a bunch now. But I never watched more than just the first season and the Christmas special. When I watched it, there was like, I think 2 seasons out. And there's just been a bunch since then or something. I think there's 4. Anyway, yeah, I just haven't watched more. I don't know. The show's, like, fine. There's, like, no big specific issue with it. It's just not my kind of thing, I guess. That's kind of just all it is. It doesn't really interest me. It has its moments. It can be a bit funny. It's definitely got cute designs and an interesting art style that I like watching. But for the most part, it just doesn't really interest me. And so I just kind of get bored and... I was just, that's why I was just kind of like, yeah, I won't watch season 2. And I just kind of left it. It's fine. Like I said, no big issue with it. It just, not for me. Oh, man. Ride Your Wave. Yeah. This is probably a D. Ride Your Wave is a movie. Who directed it again? It was some, like, good director, which is why I went and saw it. I can't remember who right now. Right, it was fucking Yuasa Masaki. Masaki Yuasa. Great director, but, I mean, the directing's not really the problem with this movie. But that's why I went and saw it. But it's just weird. It's a weird movie, that's for sure. It started out alright, and it even has some good moments in the middle and stuff, and there are some really, really cute and sweet moments, and the like ending, like the very ending, once the climax is over, the movie's like about to end, and then there's one little moment right at the end is like the best part of the movie. That part is like the fucking best, but like the climax in terms of like the action and like culmination and stuff, that whole sequence is just insanely weird, and like not in a good way. It just like completely breaks my like, I don't know, it just like, it's dumb. She surfs along the water that's being sprayed by the firemen, and she like surfs on it out of a burning building skyscraper, and she like surfs down outside of the building down to the ground. It's very strange, and makes no fucking sense, but that's what she does. Yeah, I don't know. The movie starts out pretty good. It's got an interesting romance, and then the guy dies, and then she starts like seeing him in water, which I think he like actually is there. I don't know. Like, everyone thinks she's crazy and no one else can see him, but it's like it is his spirit actually or something. It's very strange. Point is, that whole middling part is just weird, and it's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter. It's a lot of montages that are kind of long, and it just kind of happens. I don't know. I mean, I went and saw it in theaters, and then I just kind of left like disappointed, because I was just like, yeah, that was alright. Alright is probably the best way to describe it. So D. I mean, it's better than some of the stuff here in D. It's actually better than most of it, but it's not really as good as anything in C, so I don't know, it's kind of awkwardly in between them in reality, but I think D suits it better than C. Yeah, it's fine. It starts good. The very end, because I don't want to say the ending's good, because the climax at the end, like I said, is fucking dumb, but but the very end final scene, that's nice. Almost made me cry right at the end. They almost got me right at the end, because the start and the end are good, but yeah, everything else is just kind of bad. Oh boy. Oh boy, here we go, boys. It's Rokubu time. It's Rokubu time. You know what that means. Everyone calls me a pedophile as I put it in A tier. Look, it's good, guys. I watch it for the basketball, okay? I watch it for the basketball. You gotta believe me. Fucking Rokubu. Yeah, no, it's A tier. And to be real, the basketball, I watch it for the plot, fog. Look, I do. The plot's well, I don't know about the plot is actually good, but the basketball is good. The basketball's actually legit as hell. Yeah, basketball's fucking like bangers. Like, it's actually like, I don't know, there's something about the basketball, like, the basketball's actually really legit. The games in this are tense, and there's actually some good emotional moments, and character arcs, and payoffs, and all kinds of stuff. There's actually legit basketball in here, and there is a real show in here. It just also has lolly fan service, as you do. You know, that happens. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's naked lollies in this. But the basketball is legit. It's actually a pretty legit sports anime with, you know, them growing and becoming better players, and rivalries that are set up where, like, they lose one time and then the next time they're in the match, the like exact same thing happens where Saki gets the ball right as the buzzer goes off. And in the last game, you know, if she got it, I think if she got it, they would have tied, but she misses it. But then this time, it's the exact same situation. If they get it, they tie. And so she gets it, and she makes the same shot, but this time she gets it. And so then they're a tie. And so then the match gets extended by 5 minutes. Because it's a tie at that moment. And then Maho's able to come back in, because she had to sit out of the second half because of her injury. Because she trained too hard to try and be good. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of actual basketball here. A lot of actual games here. I feel weird, like, trying to justify it, because the fact that I'm even trying to justify it probably makes it seem fake. But it's just such a big meme, you know? The show's very obviously a lolly fan service show. But that stuff is legit. Anyone I've talked to who's actually watched it is like, basketball match is actually pretty good though. And I'm like, yes, thank you. If someone actually gets it. I don't know. Rokubu holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the earliest anime I ever watched. I watched Kill Me Baby. Where's Kill Me Baby? It's in C, right? Yeah, I watched Kill Me Baby. I watched, like, I think Ikamasume and Yuri Yuri and like NHK and Madoka Magica. And then maybe that's then when I watched Rokubu. I can't remember exactly what order I watched things in early on. I think I watched Attack on Titan before it as well. And hey, look, it's next to Prince of Tennis! Because I'm the lolly Prince of Tennis! Remember? Do you remember that toast? I was watching Rokubu and Prince of Tennis at the same time, and then everyone started calling me... You, Baronade and Rail, called me the lolly Prince of Tennis for a while. That was a short-lived meme, but a good classic meme all the same. God damn. Lolly Prince of Tennis. Fucking hilarious. So yeah, Rokubu's actually really good. I'm putting it there for real reasons, okay? Alright? I just want to make that clear, because I feel like the only thing everyone knows about Rokubu is the fucking lolly fan service aspects of it, which exist. I'm not denying their existence, but come on. There's more to it than that. Also, was that the first R? Oh no, we've been on R for ages. Right, we've been at R from the start. What the fuck am I talking about? Room Camp. Room Camp's a B. I mean, I love Eurocamp. We haven't done Eurocamp yet because it's near the bottom, and I love Eurocamp, but Room Camp, I mean, it goes in B because I do like it. It's very sweet, it's very cute, it's very sweet, it's very simple. But that's kind of it, you know. It's a short, so it doesn't go for too long. But everything that it does do is really sweet and nice and cute, and it gives you little information about places in the prefecture that they're in, as they go around doing a stamp rally. And I don't know, and you learn about Mount Fuji and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's good. I like it, but it's not in B because it does anything wrong. It's just in B because it doesn't do enough for me to have a strong enough opinion of it to put it in A. I feel like it's very hard for, like, a short to be so good that I would put it in A. Are there any shorts in A? Probably not. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if there were. Yeah, there's none, basically. I mean, Gotcha's just a music video, and that's an S, but that's because that music video is fucking insane. It's next level. Yeah, Room Camp's really good for a short. It's, like, way better than any of the other shorts in here. Like, it's better than One Room, that's for sure. It's better than most things in here, actually. There's, like, a few things it's not as good as, but it's good. It, yeah, Room Camp is just good. It's just a good, simple, sweet thing that was a really nice tide over from Eurocamp to Season 2 of Eurocamp. Yeah. That's basically it. It just doesn't do enough or have enough for me to put it in A, but it's very good. It's not here for any real negative reasons. Just not enough to go higher. Next we have Roommate, which is a D. It's a very meh show. A very I don't have a strong opinion about it show. Roommate is a spin-off of One Room, and it was basically meant to be One Room, but for girls to watch, because the free characters are guys now, and you're meant to have the girl POV. The problem is none of the guys are really that great. They're all kind of assholes. There's like a main dude bro who's like a dick to you. There's like this dude bro who's like just a snotty asshole to you. Snooty asshole. He's like, you know, he's like all pompous and like, I'm better than you kind of shit. And then there's like this guy who you think would be like the cute, sweet baby boy who, you can mummer, I guess, and he can be like your little twink, but maybe I'm just remembering wrong, but I also remember him just kind of being an asshole to you, and it's like, why are all the guys dicks? What if I'm not into guys who are dicks? Because I'm not. Maybe they can be not as much of dicks, and then I'd be more into them. Yeah, and I mean, the show has plenty of man service, guys taking off their shirts, and they got fucking ripped buds, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this guy here, this man, I mean, whew, he's got a nice bod, but he's an asshole, so I'm still not, I'm not into it enough. You can't distract me with your ripped body. Maybe a little bit, but you're still an asshole. You know what I mean? No, but yeah, Roommate's just mad because it just doesn't work as well as One Room. First of all, it doesn't have anything interesting in it that makes me think it's a time travel show. I don't like any of the characters at all. I don't like, I don't like any of the three guys, or at least in One Room I usually like two of them. And also, it's a weird situation because you're like in a share house with the three of them at the same time. So instead it's 12 episodes where all three of them exist, instead of an arc with one of them for 4 episodes, another one for 4, another one for 4, and it's like each time you're also like a different person because you're in a completely different situation or job or whatever. In this, it's just you're always the one chick that just lives in this house with these 3 guys, and that means that the storytelling's a lot less limited and interesting because they can't set up this like interesting dynamic that you have with this one other character in this unique situation. It's just like, no, the 4 of you just live in a house, and that's the plot. And then the plot is like, you live in the house. They like talk to you and stuff, and that's like all that happens. So it's just the idea of a One Room where all the characters are guys are great, but maybe you should have actually put effort into it and made it good, and then it could have been good, but instead it's just that, and it got 1 season, while One Room now has 3 seasons. Rumbling Hearts. This is based off a Age, it's called Age, right? Visual novel, I think that's the company name, Age. Rumbling Hearts is, the people that do Muv-Luv. And Rumbling Hearts is like a weird pseudo-prequel to Muv-Luv, kinda, sorta. Like, the characters that are in Muv-Luv are in Rumbling Hearts, but they're just, like, normal people in this one. Maybe an alternate reality. I can't remember how it's explained. Or if it's just like, no, we just reused the characters' names, personalities, and sprites. Or if there's actually some weird, like, link between them all. I don't know. There was, like, an Age collection put out, like, a few years ago for, like, their 25th anniversary or something. They put out a collection with all their VNs. And then I was like, hey, you should make that entire collection in English. And then they're like, no. But then a few years later, they're like, we're going to translate all our games into English officially. At least I think they said that. Did they? I can't remember. Rumbling Hearts is getting an English translation at least, or it already has it. But it was very recent development. Age is just kind of like, hey, what if we sold our stuff in English? And I was like, yeah, what if you did? And now they are. Anyway, VN ramblings aside, Rumbling Hearts is pretty alright. It goes in C tier because I'm really not fond of the way the story goes. It has some interesting stuff in it, and there's definitely some, like, strong dramatic moments. And the fact that it has all those moments that make it so strong, like, the ending is the only logical end that could happen based on what happens in the show. But I still don't like it, and so they could have still had good things leading up to a better end, to an ending I appreciate more. But the ending just feels really flat. It's just like, oh yeah, nothing happens. It's like, okay, so if the main character was just never born, it'd be like the same, except the main girl wouldn't be in a wheelchair. That's the only thing that would change. It's like, all right, like the ending is just everyone just like goes on their own way, and it's like, all right, nothing happened except a girl got put in a wheelchair. Basically, that's the only like change that has really happened. But yeah, this chick here is an absolute manipulative asshole the entire time. So she's really annoying. The show's very uncomfortable because she just does a bunch of bad shit to this poor vulnerable guy, and then when he's like, hey, I don't like you anymore because you did all that bad shit to me, and now I have the girl I actually love back, she's like, oh, you're such a fucking bitch, why are you so evil and rude to me, I thought you loved me. And he's like, it's like, why? Why would you and then she cheats on him, and then continues to get mad at him for liking someone else, even though he hasn't cheated on her and she cheated on him. It's like, the audacity of this bitch. And am I meant to like her? Is this meant to endear me to the characters and make me want to go read the VN? Because I do want to read the VN, so congratulations, you're out of work. But also, I hate her guts, so I don't. I absolutely fucking hate her. I think she's a terrible human being. But main girl's really cute. It's just a shame that, you know, she gets run over by a fucking car and gets put in a coma for like 7 years. But she's really cute, very adorable. But then at the end she just gets weirdly mature and is like, I don't know, it's just a whole bunch of shit happens. There's also a sister of this girl, which I think is a route. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just don't like the ending. I don't like a lot of the characters. There's also these two, like, side characters who, like, are just comic relief. Like, they literally just make jokes, but it's like dumb anime jokes, you know? The type that aren't funny, that everyone makes, that, like, characters make all the time, and it's like, yep, I've seen that joke in 1,000 other anime before, and it wasn't funny the first time I saw it. It's still not funny. In fact, it irritates me a little. It's those kind of jokes. Which is weird because those two girls have arcs in the VN. They have routes in the VN. Like, they're full-on main characters whose routes you can do. But in the show, they're just like, oh yeah, they're just comic relief side characters. You'd think they're always side characters. That's what they feel. They feel like they're side characters who, regardless of what route you do, they're just kind of off in the supporting role. But no, they have full-on routes. They're full-on main girls, but they just do nothing in the show. I don't know. I mean, I know shows have to either pick a route or, like, try to spread it out in a weird way. Like, I don't know, visual novel adaptations are always weird because there's always, like, some, like, School Days just decided to do the route where you fuck everyone because that route was already famous for its ending anyway, so they also got to do that ending. A lot of the key ones just decide to, like, do a little bit of all the girls' routes, so you kind of get the general idea of what they're all about, but all of it happens at once. But yeah, this one's just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like doing just one specific route or if it's kind of mixing these two's routes. I don't even know if she would have a route because she, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird show. I like it as far as it made me want to play the VN. But as far as the show goes, C is probably best for it. Maybe B, but for now I'll leave it in C. Yeah, I just don't like the ending, and I hate I just spent the whole show like being annoyed at this fucking chick. Speaking of School Days, it's coming up. Ryu's work is never done. Look, guys, this is also A tier. The shogi is really legit. I swear, it's not about the lollies. This one is C. This is also a show that's technically a sports anime, but with lollies that get naked as well. And this show doesn't waste any time. You know, Rokubu takes a bit. This show doesn't give a fuck. Episode 1, naked lollies. In your house, jumping on top of you. It happens. It happens, you know? It's an occupational hazard. Of being a Ryu, I guess. Yeah, but this is a show where, like, it's the youngest guy to become a Ryu in Mahjong ever. He's, like, 16 or something, and he's, like, the champ. And so the show, and then this chick, this little lolly comes and finds him and is like, teach me, senpai, and he's like, alright, I'll teach, yeah, I don't know, he, like, trains her in shogi, and she's this cute little lolly girl, and she does get naked a few times, you know, it happens, and he also has a younger sister who's really into him, but, you know, she usually shows up and, whoa, she saw that there's a naked lolly here, and it's a misunderstanding. And so she smacks her brother, and it's like, you know, they do that joke 5 times throughout the show, because it was totally funny the first time it happened, but it's because she actually has the bro complex and likes him, you know, it's typical shit, really, yeah, but it does actually have legit shogi, and there is one character who's a side character. She's like, it's just her face up in the corner here. That one. She has a really great emotional arc. Sorry, not Mahjong, shogi. I called it Mahjong a few times, but I also called it shogi. It's shogi. They play shogi. Because shogi has, like, weird rules with, like, aging and, like, ranking up, and it's like, once you're a certain age, you can no longer get to, like, the next rank, because you didn't get there by a certain age, or something. It's weird. It's like, you have to be playing it for your whole life and progressing at this rate, or else you're gonna be stuck in whatever rank you're in for the rest of your life. It's very weird. Very weird competitive thingy. I don't know why people can't just take longer to get better, but whatever. Because, like, in Karuta, like, they show off in Chiryu, in Karuta, you can start playing it as an adult and still get pretty far if you're good at it. There's one character in that show who they're like, oh, this guy's only been playing for 2 years, but he's, like, already A rank, because he just, like, started playing as an adult, and he's just, like, naturally really good at it, and so he just gets it. Sorry, but I've got to go. See you next stream. That is all good. Don't even fret about it. Hope to see you around some more. Don't need to worry about sticking around. I just hope you had a good time and enjoyed it. I'll see you next stream, hopefully. So what was I saying? Right, lolly show. So yeah, she has a really good emotional arc about, like, trying to progress. Like, she only has, like, 1 year left to get to, like, the next ranking, or she's not gonna be able to. And she has this, like, great moment where she has, like, speech with her father about it over, and she, like, starts to, like, cry and stuff, and it did make me cry. It made me cry, because they focus on her for, like, 2 or 3 episodes, and they give her this, you know, big emotional arc, and it actually works really well, and has a good payoff, and I'm like, damn. I was, like, really, like, that was good, that was really well done. And the shogi matches, like in Rokubu, they're legit. They're legit matches that actually have, like, you know, developed rivals, and you actually see what's going on, and it's just like any other, like, sports or shogi anime. Like, it goes in depth. It's just that, yes, it also then has lolly fan service, but it focuses. It does focus on it less than Rokubu, though. But then also the matches and characters aren't as good as in Rokubu, except for that one side character. And also it doesn't have a special place in my heart. Because it also just doesn't have as many characters as Rokubu has. Like, Rokubu has a bunch of characters on the team, and they're all great. Especially the second season. Second season, like, doubles the cast. It's all great stuff. But there's, like, 4? Maybe even just 3 main characters in this. It's also weird, because in Rokubu, the Lolly Prince, he looks away whenever he, like, sees them naked, and he, like, clearly isn't trying to get with them. He does he does have that line that fucking, what's that line, like, primary schoolers are amazing, or whatever that fucking line is. That one's a bit sus, and I mean, maybe he does love the main chick, but mostly he's just, like, very nice and real with them, and he looks away if he sees them naked and stuff. This guy, the main dude in this show seems fucking into it. Actually, there's one in particular that he seems into it with. With all the other chicks, he's like, whoa, sorry I saw you naked, but I'm gonna keep looking at you. But there's one chick who's, like, blonde, and she's little lolly, and she, like, can't speak Japanese correctly, because she has blonde hair, so obviously that means she's English or from America. And, and so she exists and talks in a weird, cute voice, and he's totally into her. He, like... Is that what the line is in Japanese? I'm not gonna read it out loud because that might be the line, but you know, I mean, that's what it is. Oh god, that line's fucking famous. I remember someone printed that line on a fucking shirt. They made like a Rockyboo themed shirt with that written on it. It was so fucking. I'm like, oh my god. Could you imagine owning this? No, but yeah, in this, the main guy seems into it when it's like that little girl. He actually seems like he wants to bang her, and it's a little weird. Yeah, I don't know, just the quality and overall depth of the characters and stuff just isn't as good in that. Like I said, that one character up there, that chick, almost made me cry. But overall, the quality of it is just low. What is this? Oh god. Wait, is this safe? Get out of here. Oh, it's everyone saying it? Yeah. Nico Nico's great. M9. That's so much. Everyone with the fucking M9 just like, bruh. Oh god, I'm actually so glad I remembered that now, because that was fucking funny. Yeah, that's quite the line. Now we're into the S's. Here's Saki. Saki is a fucking S tier show. I fucking love Saki. Saki's so good. The characters are great. All the mahjong matches are so freaking good. Like, this show doesn't waste time, you know? Like, there are a lot of shows where it's like all of the first season, every match is only one episode. Saki doesn't give a fuck. As soon as it's in the tournament arc, bam! Every match takes like 10 fucking episodes to get through. And all of Season 2, which is like 12 episodes, all of Season 2 is just the one match. Because it's fucking mahjong, so it takes forever. You know, it's two schools competing, so you do a East match, you do a 1 East, like where just everyone gets to be East once. They just do that, and then they do it 4 times over. Each time a different person from the school in there. But then that's the thing, that means you're meeting 3 rival schools rather at once, and also each match has 3 characters who need to show off their gimmick and their power, and that you need to like learn their backstory and maybe pick them as a waifu or want them to win. Saki's fucking great. It's got great designs. So many of the rival schools are like really good. Like all the characters are like really good. It's got really good designs. They just got really good like gimmicks and cool powers. I mean, the thing is, there's only so many different ways you can play mahjong and still be realistically good. So the creators just like, fuck it, they have superpowers, or like their superpowers that they're really fond of a specific hand, basically. And so if they go for that specific strategy, then it will always work if it's them doing it. And so it's insane. It's absolute nonsense. It's not real mahjong at all, because some of the tactics they rely on are absurd. This chick at the back here, who's great, her thing is she always goes for the worst weight, even if it gives her less points. Sometimes she's like, oh well, if I'll reach on this other tile so that I'm only waiting on one tile instead of two, and I'll get less points for it. And it's like, why? It's literally a worse way in every option. And then she's like, yeah, but it's harder to win that way, so I pick it because then her power activates, and that makes it easier to win when she goes for hell weights. And it's just like, it's like the dumbest shit, right? Like Saki, you know, her power, if she cans, then she'll draw the tile she needs. Except for the one time where it, like, also works, but it's like a chain effect where, like, other people's powers are affecting it, and so she does, like, a Khan into a sumo. It's a whole thing. And then, actually, this pink-haired girl, I'm pretty sure her power is just that she's really good at mahjong. I don't think she actually has a superpower. Or does she? I think she's just really good at mahjong. I think that's what it is. But yeah, there's one other girl on the rival team also whose gimmick is just that she doesn't have power. And I love her. I love her because she literally has a line in the show where she's like, don't count me out just because I don't have superpowers. That's literally something she says at one point. She like wins a hand and then she's like, don't count me out just because I don't have superpowers. It's like, okay, the characters in the show are just admitting it's superpowers now. I mean, it's hard to hide it because one chick's power is that she plays better when there's a full moon, and it's like, and also, when the full moon rises and her powers activate, all the lights on, like, that are pointing at the match explode because of her power. And it's like, okay, you can't say they're not superpowers at this point. Like, some sports anime, it's like, oh, they basically have, like, super moves and stuff like that, and it's like, maybe that's superpower. But no, in Saki, they straight up just do have superpowers. Literal superpowers. Like, and it's so fucking good, though. The matches are so tense and interesting, and they get into a lot of, like, using your superpowers to circumvent other people's powers and, like, figuring out their limitations so that you can, like, use their powers against them and stuff. It's very, like, crazy shonen battle stuff, basically. And yeah, and just the characters are great, all of them. There's one girl I love, I can't remember her name. She has a Sansai. What's her name? Let's find the Sans Undertale chick. There she is. That one. This one. She doesn't look like she has a Sans. She always has that eye closed, but then when she opens it, it's blue. And in the show, at one point, she opens it, and it, like, even has the, like, glowy Sans effect. Let's see, do they have a shot from the show where her eyes, like, all got blue fire? There it is with electricity in it. Anyway, there's her being flustered because a girl told her blue eye's pretty. She's super gay for that chick at the back there. And that chick at the back's like, oh, your eye's pretty. And she goes, eh? Yeah, Saki's fucking great. It's just great. Just a bunch of gay, superhuman schoolgirls playing mahjong together and doing wild shit. And they're all great characters. And the matches are tense and interesting, and I just love it. I fucking love Saki, alright? Saki's so good. There hasn't been a new anime in like 6 years. Please give us season 3. Apparently the mangaka's a bitch to work with, so that might be part of the problem. Apparently it sucks to work with him, so... Or is it a her? I can't remember. Anyway, point is, apparently it's a bitch to work with the mangaka, so maybe that's why there hasn't been a 3rd season. Who knows? Hey, speaking of gay girls, Sakura Trick. Probably just a C. I mean, Sakura Trick's alright. It is really cute, and it has gay girls, and they make out, and I mean, that's great. You know, pinnacle of enlightenment. I'm here for it. I'm here to transcend into another realm. But, but also, the characters are a little flat. There's a few plot points that just kind of magically resolve, or just magically stop being an issue. The the payoff to some other emotional arcs isn't super great either. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's just like, it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of middles. And that's fine, because everyone's just watching it to watch cute girls be cute together, and then they also kiss sometimes. And it's adorable. And my ex-girlfriend even really liked it, just because it was, like, super cute. So it's not just a fetish thing, either, but it does just have, like, normal cute stuff that girl otakus like as well, I guess. Uh, but also it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of flat, and it's like, it's a cute little thing. I enjoy it enough. Actually, I haven't rewatched it. The first time, it was funny. I watched it. I watched it like, I think either right after. No, I watched it. I watched it in the middle of watching Sword Art Online. That's right. I watched the first half of Sword Art Online, and then before watching the second half, I watched all of Sakura Trick in like one day. Fucking weird. And it's also while I was on a holiday in Apollo Bay that I did that. That's always what I think of about Sakura Trick. I'm like, oh yeah, I watched it in Apollo Bay while also in the middle of watching like Sword Art Online. Fucking weird. Yeah, it's cute enough. It just doesn't have much going on besides being cute and simple. And while that's kind of all that Non-Non-Biyuri was, the characters in Non-Non-Biyuri are great. The animation's way better. It has a much better vibe. And like I said, that's like a Yashike, like good Yashike. This isn't like a Yashike. It's just like cute in a very like simple way, not in like a calming, healing way, or in a way that makes me insanely happy. It's just normal cute stuff, and so it gets a C for that. Oh boy, this show. I think this might just be bad, even though I kind of love it. Why do I like this show? D? How do I explain this one? How do I explain how I feel about Sagarada Reset? Ah! Alright, look, I'm gonna, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pop a short break, BRB, refill my drink, wash my face, do a little reset on myself, because also my head's starting to feel light. I should probably be drinking more. I'm gonna go sort myself out. I'll be back in briefly, you know, it won't be long. And when I get back, I'm gonna try and explain my relationship with Sagarada Reset, because I love it. But also it sucks. It's like, it's weird. I'll try to explain it when I get back. Yeah, I'll leave you with that. Alright, let's do this. First I just want to check one thing. Is that okay? Alright, so Sagarada Reset. Terrible writing, like really basically clumsy writing because it has a lot of like really high concept stuff going on. It's very a lot of overly complex powers, very ambitious, and the writing just cannot back it up. It does not do a good job of explaining itself, and the designs are terrible, the animation's low quality, there's not really any big cool set piece moments. The main character is meant to be kind of like a cool, like, super smart guy, you know, it's like those protagonists that are like super smart and they figure it all out and they figure out how to do it. They're the man with the plan, you know? And so that's what's like, you know, it's basically a show where people have superpowers and main dude bro has like basically command over this chick. Like, she won't use her powers unless he tells her to, and her power is that she can set a point in time as like a save point, and then she can reset to it. That's basically what it is, but it's not that simple. It's overly complex for no fucking reason. It's like, oh, she can only travel back if the save points existed for more than 24 hours, but there can only be one save point, and also she can't make a new one until it's been 2 days, but if it's been 3 days, then it stops, the reset point stops existing, and it's like a bunch of like bullshit, right? And so there's like that doesn't actually make the story more interesting at any point. It's literally just there so that it can be overly complicated. And then the poor writing can't really explain it well at all. And so the show falls apart fairly often because they'll have like, you know, some big plan happen where there's a bunch of stuff going on with like multiple people with powers and stuff's going on, and the main dude does a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, he's got a whole plan and he figures it all out and he solves the whole thing, and then he has to sit down and explain it, as you do with any show like this with a hyper smart main character, where at the end of like an arc it's like, and here's like everything that happened with this crazy plan, but it's like the show's writing is dog shit, so it can't explain it well at all, and so it just muddies like everything because like it's a terrible job of explaining itself. And so because of this, I've seen some people say like, oh, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's bad. No, it's not that the person didn't understand it, it's that you don't understand it as well, and so you think that means that it's good, because you're like, oh, the main dude's so smart and I can't even keep up with this show, it must be so good. It's like, no, it's just terribly written. It's just really poorly written. I got it because I watched the first few episodes like a second time, because I like kind of was like, wait, what's going on? And then after that I realized I needed to pay extra attention, and I also eventually realized like what kind of shitty writing it was doing. So here's the thing, I'm not defending it at all. The writing is god fucking awful, and if you think the writing's good, then I think you just didn't understand it, so you don't even realize it's bad. You're actually the one that doesn't understand it. But again, I was saying all this, I love it, and I don't even know why. I can't explain why I enjoy it, but I enjoy it so much while hating it because it is terrible. And that's the conflict. Like, this isn't a objective subjective thing where like, oh, subjectively I like it, but objectively it's bad quality. Like, no, it's bad. I subjectively hate the writing, I subjectively hate the animation, I subjectively hate most of the characters, and I think it's a piece of shit. But I also subjectively love it. And I don't know why I have this really mixed bag feeling about this show. I don't get it. Maybe I just love to hate it. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just having a good time, like, seeing how stupid this show is. I guess that's it. Which means I should put it higher for enjoyment, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I just feel like I should put it in D. And it's my list, so I do what I want. But the point is, I love this show, even though it's the worst thing ever made. What the fuck is this music, Maple Story? What is this? Johnny Be Good? At the prom. What is this Back to the Future shit? So next we have Sakura So, which means, where is it? Where'd they go? Oh, they got separated again. Okay, let's bring them back together, like over here. Bring you over, and bring you over, and bring you down. There we go. Older Moria wedding hole, Pog. Yeah. Old shit, man. There was even a video I saw for Maple. I was looking at MapleStory music, and I saw a video that was like, it was only old music, and it was like all the music from like pre-Big Bang music. And I was like, damn. Anyway, right. So Sakura So that goes in A tier, but now I can talk about, you know, when I said there was the great era burnout on romance anime. These were the three I watched. In this order. I watched Sakura So, then I watched Golden Time, then I watched Nagi no Asakura. No, I watched Sakura So last. Maybe it was the other way around. I think it might have been Nagi no Asakura, Golden Time, then Sakura So. Yeah, I think so. I think that was it. Now that I think about it, Nagi no Asakura was definitely first, and I think Sakura So was last. I think. Anyway, point is, I watched all three of these in a row, and then I got really burnt out on romance anime because all of them are like, you know, they start out lighthearted and more comedic focused, but then eventually they get really heavy on the drama, and not just the main characters, but all the side characters are also sad, and it's all just becomes drama and really heavy, and so it just burnt me out by the end of it because I just had to deal with that like 3 times in a row. I loved all these shows. I love all of them still. They're all in A tier. But like, it's like I watched. So yeah, I watched all 3 of them, and all 3 of them were in my top 10 after I finished watching them. But oh hey, shit, the Baronade has awoken from his slumber to bring the content. How you doing? Where's the hashtag content? Stream now until you go to sleep again. That's the new schedule. Every waking second your stream is on. I had a call from job interview. Oh yeah, so when are you gonna get the fuck out of my state? You little bitch. How are you? Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Mostly. I'm having a mental breakdown from Tierlist mania. I can't handle it. And there's still this many left. So many animus. But no, I'm mostly doing good. Am I gonna... How long have we been going for? 2 hours? Maybe we could actually finish today. If I do a full stream, we could actually finish today. That'd be pretty wild. Oh shit, I need to send an email right now. Hang on, I'll be back in a jiffy. I've moved on to the final phase. Another interview on the 27th is the last one. Alright. Also uses this list. Yeah, there's, as you can see in the top left-hand corner, 286 entries overall. It's madness. It's madness. It's been going for 18 hours now, I think. I think we're on the 18th hour, so, you know. Getting there. Fucking getting there. Yeah, I just need to send an email, like, right now. Okay, I'm back. I just had to send that email like a minute ago now, but I sent it. I think it's late anyway, but whatever, it's late by a minute. It's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah, this list is quite a beast. Did you like my idea, Baronade? Are you gonna crack that whip for your special, what was it? Oh yeah, your elite follower special? You gonna crack that whip? Give the past a slip, you know what I'm you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? I don't know why, but I just randomly thought of that song as I happened to see your tweet, so that's why I replied like that. I personally think it's a great stream idea, but you know, whatever. So yeah, then, you know, I watched all three of these. I put them all in my top 10, and I like at the time considered romance to be like my favorite anime genre, which is not the case anymore. But it also burnt me out of romances, and so I didn't watch any for a long time. And honestly, I haven't watched too many, even now, really, that are like strictly romances, especially in the same way that like these were, where it's like a bunch of different groups of romances, and stuff, and like I don't know. I feel like they just don't happen anymore. Maybe, or maybe they just aren't romances like these very much. Period. I don't know. But yeah, these three are all very similar. They're all very good. They're all in the A tier now. Like I said, once upon a time, they were all in my top 10. If I made this many years ago, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago or something. Six? Probably six, right? Yeah, 6 or 7 years ago. Not five. Five they wouldn't have been. They'd probably be all in S tier, but not now. Now they all chill in A tier. They're all still good. I like them a lot. I have all of them on DVD actually. Although my Sakura So and Golden Time DVDs are not Region 4, which is the region for Australia. But luckily my DVD player is region 3, so it doesn't even matter. They're from America though. They're Sentai Filmworks copies. Because I got them after Sentai Filmworks had made their versions, but before Madman made them. But Madman has since made versions of them in Australia. Samurai Champloo is pretty fucking great. S tier, no, not S tier, A tier easily, and like high, like a 9 out of 10 for sure. Samurai Champloo is great. I feel like I maybe didn't give it an A last time. Maybe I did, but I definitely like it more now than I did last year. Unless, when did I rewatch it? I did a rewatch either this year or last year. I guess maybe that was last. Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been 21. Maybe that wasn't 2020. So maybe I did already talk about how I don't know, but like before I did that rewatch, I kind of didn't like it like as much. Kind of because I burned myself out on it by watching it. Like I watched it like 3 times in really close proximity. Because I liked it, but also I like didn't get it like as much. But then like when I did that rewatch, I like really liked it because first of all I just like I don't know I had a break from it and I wasn't watching it so closely after watching it before that, and I was able to appreciate it a lot more, because I like I don't know I just like recognize good like animation and directing and stuff a lot more than I used to back then, and it is just really great. I watched it at a much like slower pace than I had before. I just watched 1 episode a day as I rewatched it, and that was a really nice pace where I really got to appreciate and enjoy it. Except for the last 3 episodes. The last 3 episodes I watched all at once because they're like a big 3-part finale thing. So I watched all those at once, but yeah, show's pretty fucking great. I mean, obviously, I feel like anyone who knows about it, or at least knows that it's directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, can tell that it's probably really fucking great because it is. Although I say that, but there's one thing directed by Shinichiro Watanabe in here that isn't so great, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Samurai Champloo's fucking phenomenal. And I really like it. It's music, the music throughout it is so fucking good. But also there's like a lot of like just things that I didn't, like, get back when I first did my watches of it that I got when I rewatched it. Mainly things about, like, Japanese culture and stuff like that. Because the show does have a lot to say about Japanese culture. Mainly its evolution from, like, Sengoku to now, and how it is able to keep its culture alive by kind of transforming it and mixing things in from other cultures without destroying it. Like, Japanese culture is still very much Japanese, but, like, it can take in... It's very... Like, the show basically says that, it's very good at, like, warping its culture in interesting ways by letting some other things in from other cultures enough to, like, change it and help it grow and evolve, but not stop being so distinctly Japanese, because there really is, there's no other place really quite like Japan. And, yeah, I don't know, just the knowing more about Japanese, especially history and culture during my rewatch, like, I got a lot more out of it. And then also there was a bunch of stuff that was just, like, said or that happened, and I was like, and it, like, made me think, and then I'd, like, look stuff up, and, I did a lot of, like, I don't know. This show, a lot like Heike's story, actually, made me learn a lot about Japanese history and culture, because there was just a lot of stuff that it, like, talks about, or just mentions even in passing, or there's just, like, a symbol on some guy's jacket, and I'm like, huh. And then I look it up, and I find out all this stuff, and then it, like, it leads me down a rabbit hole, because I find out one thing, but then it's like, I find out another detail, and then I'm like, well, now I want to learn more about that detail, and yeah, I did that a lot with Samurai Champloo. That might actually be what opened me up to doing that. Because I think that was the show where I realized, like, oh yeah, I can just, like, look stuff up if it intrigues me, and then I can end up finding a lot more about it and understanding shows better from that point on. And so now I do it all the goddamn time whenever there's something like that like, kind of catches my interest. I'm like, let me look into that. It's fun. I love learning about that shit. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Baronade, are you still here? I think Baronade left. We're about to talk about his favorite show, Sword Art Online. And he's not here to say it's not his favorite show, so it is. Baronade's favorite show, everybody. And his favorite main character, Kirito-kun. Because he thinks Kirito-kun is so cool. So kakui desu. Hang on, I'm pouring a drink. Okay, yeah, seems like Baronade's not here. Great. Okay, let's pretend his favorite show is Sword Art Online. Anyway, Sword Art Online is gonna be an F tier. Because it's very bad. Look, I don't know if I'd give Sword Art Online a 1. Maybe I'd give it a 2. There are some things Sword Art Online does good or well, but there's just a lot that it does bad, and also things that it does that outright offend me. And so when a show fucking offends me, after I've given my time to watch your art, you're gonna fucking do something that offends me. Yeah, that's cruising for a fucking F placement right there. The thing's sort of... I mean, people say, like, oh, the first half's good in of the first season. Partly, some of it's good, but there's still plenty that's wrong with the first half. Like, a lot of the early episodes, a lot of the later episodes. Basically, the only good part is the mid part. The mid part where Kirito and Asuna are just being a couple, and, they get married, they have sex, they have their AI kid that they fucking find, and all that stuff is great. The romance element is really good. If it was just a romance story and it wasn't surrounded by this whole death game plot and a bunch of other edgy bullcrap, it probably would be really good. But, because the romance, at least, is done well, and the author can clearly write a romance well. Actually, I take that back. Part of that's thanks to the anime, because when I think about how it's written in the light novels, I remember the 2 years worth of semen. So no, the writer doesn't get my commend. The anime creative stuff do. The romance is done well in the anime, and the way Kirito actually finally starts showing fucking emotion when he's around the daughter that they have, Yui, is great, and she's great as well, even though she's like made to be a cute cinnamon roll so that you like her, and then she gets killed. But then she comes back anyway because death doesn't mean anything in this show. And then the later half of the first season, of course, is just defensive. And here's the thing: I've seen all of Sword Art Online, except for like some OVAs and the movie. I haven't seen the first movie, and I haven't seen Progressive. I'd probably give Progressive its own spot on the list if I had seen it anyway. But so I've seen all of it, and it just gets worse. Sword Art Online gets worse. 2 is bad. Alicization is mostly pretty good. Alicization I do enjoy. Alicization on its own would maybe get a C, or a B. It's alright. It's got some nice stuff in there. And the cinematography is fucking phenomenal in Alicization. But then there's War of the Underworld, and that's just fucking insane. Like, everything is wrong with that. Everything that could be wrong with that is wrong with that. It goes off the fucking rails. Like, Alicization, I'm like, oh, it's good, maybe it's getting better. No, War of the Underworld just fucking... Oh, it does some shit, man. I don't even want to get into it, because there's so much I could list that, like, is bad. But it's just, like... It's just bad. It's just bad. The fucking horrible, evil bad guy from Season 1 who murders all those people by creating the Sword Art Online game, he's a hero now. And he's a great guy. Show them how wonderful of a person you are is something someone literally says to him. And like triumphant music plays as he does this like great amazing thing, and it's like, oh my god, see, he's a good guy, guys, even though he fucking killed a bunch of people. And then yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna get it. I just wanted to say that one because that one in particular is absurd. Also, Kirito turns a guy into a tree. So yeah, that happens. Also, there's 2 Kiritos. One of them is his age, and the other one is over 200 years old. Don't worry about it. Okay, so, oh boy, School Days, the show that broke toast. It's the show that broke toast, oh no. B, I actually kind of like School Days. Look, you need to meet School Days on its level. It knows that the main... I mean, maybe this just comes back to people needing to relate to the main character, so they don't like he's a piece of shit. Not Pog. Look. Yes, the main character's a piece of shit, but that's kind of the point. It's literally one of the bad endings. Like, School Days was infamous for its bad endings, and so the anime was like, hey, let's do what this game is known for. It's crazy bad endings. So they did, like, the most infamous one, where there's a nice boat, you know? This is B for boat here. Boat. Nice boat. Yeah, School Days is actually kind of good. Because, yeah, that's the point. They were, like, doing this really bad route. Because the route is where you try to fuck everyone, and you get to fuck everyone, but then you get killed at the end because you're being a dick and you're trying to fuck everyone. Like, that's the point. And so that's why they did that. And it's like, yeah, he's a piece of shit. That's why he gets fucking left gasping for stitches at the end. That's a great line. That's also from Demolition D's Let's Talk About Anime video. Someone please help, I'm drowning in bitches. Yeah, last guy with that problem was left gasping for stitches. And then it shows the murder scene from School Days when he says that. He was drowning in bitches, and he was left gasping for stitches. Anyway, yeah, and I don't know, the animation's not that bad, the ED's really good, the character designs, some of them are really good. I mean, most of them are fairly generic, though, to be fair. I mean, it's not like I'm putting it in A, I'm putting it in B. It's got a nice boat. Yeah, I don't know, I just kind of like School Days. I like it as, like, yeah, watching this, like, scumbag do a bunch of shitty shit, and then he gets his fucking comeuppance. I don't see the problem here. And it's based off a, I don't know, ridiculous visual novel. I've considered getting, I don't know, I might get the visual novel one day, but I don't think I'd be able to play it on stream. I don't think it's banned, but I'd have to be really careful about getting the censor bar ready, because there's some scenes in there, let's say. I mean, I guess, I played fucking Sayano Uto. Why am I worried about having to censor shit? That's like the most you'd ever need to censor a fucking thing, but maybe someday. But for now, I don't know, B, I like it, I like the anime. When I watch it, I enjoy it. Alright? Sue me. It's not that bad. It's enjoyable in a very dumb way. Man, I am burping so fucking much. I don't know why. Like, yeah, I'm drinking a carbonated drink right now, but, like, I've been burping so much all day, and I don't know why. Because usually, even when I'm drinking soft drink, I do not burp this much. I do not know why I am, but, I am. I've tried to make sure that I do it in, you know, do it quietly so that the mic doesn't hear me. And I think I've mostly succeeded. I fucking love this song. So good. Anyway. Yojo Senki is gonna be an 8 here. It's fucking great. They just announced the 2nd season recently. I was so happy to hear that. I figured they wouldn't announce it until after this season, because they're the studio is working on Attack on Titan right now. They're helping out with that. They're not the main studio, obviously Mappa is, but the studio that does this not, they help out with it. You can see their studio logo in the credits if you watch the ED, at least of part 1 of the final season. So I thought, I don't know, I just thought they'd be all focused on that. And I mean, maybe they probably are, but like, they just announced this because that's what that happens next. But yeah, anyway, Yojo Senki's great, both the first season and the movie. I've seen the movie. Freaking great series. The action is like just off the charts, really good. It's got a lot of interesting political stuff. It's got a bunch of different like faction stuff. It's basically, it's a simplified World War II, so it's not as complex as real life World War II, or sorry, 1 rather, not 2. Simplified World War 1, but man, is it done well. It's really fucking good, and a bunch of different groups that are obviously based on real life groups. It's funny because at the end of each episode they put like, any relationship to real life people, places, and yada 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 is completely coincidental, and I'm like, look, you can't do that when there's a country called the like United something. It's like something else. It's like not exact, but the thing is, its acronym is US, so they call it the US, and I'm like, okay, I get it. That's the United States. They come from across the sea. They have tensions with Russia, but they work with them in order to take down Germany. Yeah, we fucking get it. Also, it's not. Oh, sorry, it's not Russia. It's just the Russia Empire. Just a very cold, big country that's in the exact spot where Russia is, and also has tense relationships with a country whose acronym is US. Also, it's called the Russia Empire. Also, its capital city is called Moscow. It's like, look, what do you mean? It's not purely coincidental. You're obviously basing these off the real places, but whatever. But no, you know, all the big players are there. They have everyone who's big and important. They have Germany, they have Hungary, they have UK, they have US, they have Russia, they have Turkey, they have France, they have... I think they have Spain. I can't actually remember if Spain's even there. I think they do have Spain, but it, like, is mostly the Spanish Empire when they, like, owned the northern tip of Africa kind of stuff, I think. I can't remember exactly. But also, yeah, Italy's also there, I think, and also so is Switzerland, but they're independent, and they're neutral, and they're in this too. They're just a country that's there and neutral, and I'm like, I guess you just have to put them there because no one owned that land in the real World War One, and it's like kind of a important pivotal spot that makes it very significant that it's neutral. Anyway, point is, Yojo Senki's great. A lot of, like, political intrigue stuff, a lot of great war stuff, a lot of great action scenes, especially the movie. The movie has just this, like, huge action scene that goes on for ages between the country that's meant to be Germany and the one that's meant to be Russia. And they actually use tactics that, like, Russia used and stuff like that. It's very interesting. But yeah, but then there's also mages, and also it's an isekai, which makes it kind of weird, but, like, that element, like, barely matters because of the way that it is an isekai. Like, yeah, it's an isekai, but it's an isekai in the way that it's, like, where the character dies and then is reborn as a child in the new world, and so they're, like, used to the new world, because they, like, grow up in it and, like, learn about the world the same way a child would growing up in that world. So it's not... I don't know. It basically stops being relevant that it's an isekai pretty early. It's just someone who lives in this world now. Like, from the get-go, from a birth, not just, like, teleported there at some point. Yojo Senki's great, but I don't think I need to say that because it's... I'm pretty sure most people are fond of it. I actually mentioned it to a Tinder date because someone on Tinder asked me which isekai would I hate to be transported to, and I said if it's just I'm isekai'd to that world and I'm not the main character, I'm not the protagonist, then Jobless I don't want to go to because I would die in that world almost definitely. And then I was like, but if I'm put in the position of the protagonist, I don't want to be put in Yojo Senki because I would not be able to turn that situation into a good one the same way that Tanya does. She is put in a shitty situation over and over again, but is still able to turn it around because she's a genius and good at magic and really good at warfare and politics and stuff. I would be fucking destroyed if I was her, in her position. Seven Deadly Sins. Honestly, just to see. I really like the first... Okay, so this is... I should actually be clear about this. This is the first 3 seasons. And by the first 3 seasons, I mean that the second season counts as the second season, even though it's 3 episodes. Because it counts as the second season on Mao for some reason. And if you read the descriptions, all future ones after that say, like, this is season 3, even though, it, like, a lot of people tell me, no, that's season 2. So, look, I've seen season 3 counting the 2 or 3 episode season as season 2, because that's what all the fucking production stuff calls it. There. With that out of the way, yes, I've seen 3 seasons of this. First one's good. I really enjoy the first one. Well, I don't enjoy it at first, but once, like, everyone in the cast is... Well, not everyone. Once, like, Barn and King are there, they really flesh out the cast, and it starts to get really good then. And the first season even has, like, a really nice conclusive end. Like, it could just end there, and it would be, like, a really good closed-off story. But then they keep extending it, and once they keep extending it, shit kind of goes off the rails. Season 2 is fine, because, again, it's just so short. It's 3 episodes. It's whatever. Season 3, though, shit goes off the rails. They just keep introducing all these different groups and characters, and it turns out no one that died in season 1 is actually dead. No one's dead. They're all alive somehow, and everyone who was evil isn't actually evil. They were just acting evil for some reason, and there's a bunch of new, even eviler characters, and there's even more good guy side characters, and There's just so many fucking characters. There's so many characters, and there's all these different groups. The author loves giving, like, names to groups. Like, oh, these are the 7 deadly sins. These are the 12 commandments. These are the sky pirates. These are the whatever knights. These are the this and that. And also the backstories start to get insane. It's like, oh, actually, this guy knew this girl the whole time. Whoa. It's like, you know, a bunch of shit that doesn't make sense, but it's like, oh, but it technically can make sense, and everyone's known each other, like, the entire time, really, before they even actually said they met before, and everyone gets, like, redesigned, and I think some of them I enjoyed liking, but some of them I don't enjoy, and, like, there's just so much. It's just trying too hard. It adds in power scaling, like objective power scaling, where it's like, oh, you know, scan someone with this, and this is how powerful they are. That's their power level. It's like, don't add fucking objective power levels with numbers. Don't do that shit, because it just gets messy. Because you're constantly changing it to fit the narrative. Sometimes people act weaker than they should be. Sometimes they act stronger. And when you're giving them set numbers that they're meant to be at, it all falls apart. The fans will hate it, because then they'll try to use those numbers and it won't make sense. I'm not affiliate, so you can't even give me $100 gifts. So sorry. Yeah, so the 3rd season, just everything goes off the fucking rails, and so I like it a little less. I really enjoyed the 1st season, maybe A, definitely at least a B, because the 1st season also has good emotional moments, but that 3rd season just, I don't know, it just goes off the fucking rails. So it's in C for now. I've heard that it gets even worse with the later seasons, so I don't know if I'll ever watch them. Maybe someday. This one goes in D because I don't really remember anything about it. I watched 2 episodes of it. There's this chick as the main character, and there was another character, and they were in a forest at one point. That's all I remember. I watched 1 or 2 episodes and then I dropped it. It goes in D because I really don't remember anything about it. That's literally all I have to say about it. Shelter, A. Easily A. Shelter's fucking great. It's a music video, but it's a damn good one. The music is mostly alright. I wouldn't put the music in A tier, but if we're not talking about it. We're talking about the music video. Obviously the music's part of that, but the animation is what you're fucking there for. A very good example of concise storytelling, where they just show snippets of what is a much longer story, but it's enough snippets to make you know what's going on and make you care, and it's very good, emotionally potent, very well animated, got a lot of cool, inventive stuff going on in the animation. Just a lot of great stuff. A visual feast for the eyes, really. Shelter's fantastic, and I fucking love it. It's really good stuff. Shelter's great. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Like, it's a music video. You can watch it in a very short time. It's very good, very beautiful visuals, and just a lot of creative stuff that it does with those visuals. And, you know, it tells a emotional story that is quite sad. I mean, cute girl, and then cute girl gets sad, so you get sad as well, but I know it's very basic, but it's sad. And mainly, it's just cool because it does a lot of cool, inventive stuff with the girl, where she's, like, in her own digital world that she can create, and she creates all these cool, interesting environments that just look so, I don't know, it's just so interesting. They do a really good job of just, like, yeah, I don't know, it's just good, it's just visually very cool. Shield Hero, this will be a S, no, not S, A. Shield Hero is fucking great. Obviously, it's just the 1st season, as that's all that's out. 2nd season will be at some point, I think this year, or is it next year? I don't know. It's been Season 2's been meant to come out for ages. And Season 3's also already greenlit. They, like, greenlit Season 2 and 3 as soon as 1 was done, so. That'll also happen at some point. I mean, look, Studio, what studio is it? Is it Citrus? I think it's Citrus, right? No, that's gonna give me the show. God damn it. Studio. Cinnamon, yeah, there it is. Cinema Citrus, right. Cinema, sorry. Yeah, they're great. Look. They did Man Abyss. They did Shield Hero. They did, what else did they do? Didn't they do, there was like something else in particular. Right, yeah, they did Review Starlight. They've done great stuff. Scorching Hot Ping Pong Girls, oh yeah. Cinema Citrus is great. They don't stir me wrong. They're a off-branch of Bones, I think, which Bones itself is an off-branch of Sunrise, I think, so, you know, it's kind of funny. I think there's someone who works at Cinnamon Citrus that, like, worked at Sunrise back when they did, like, Bebop, and he just, like, he followed the break off to Bones, but then he followed the next break off in, like, Cinema Citrus. It's fucking funny. Anyway, yeah, Shield Hero's great. Cinnamon Citrus, you know, they haven't really stirred me wrong. They make a lot of great stuff, and this one's no exception. I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but I personally think it's a very great, well-told, isekai, good characters. I really like its pacing and the way that the arcs, flow together. The show doesn't, it's not very, it's not formulaic, you know? I think it does a lot to, like, mix things up when you, don't expect it. And there's things that you, like, think will be a big deal that, like, end up being a small deal, or things you think are a small deal that end up being a huge deal. And it's just a constantly evolving, changing thing. It's not just simple arc start, arc end, arc start, arc, and, like, things just lead into each other, and it's like, oh, this is the current plan, but then it gets interrupted, so now we're doing this, and it's, I like that kind of kinetic, like, just, things lead into each other very naturally. Things don't just start and end neatly, they just keep going, and some things don't get resolved for a long time, or just never get resolved, because eventually it doesn't even matter that that was once a thing that was happening at all. It's really good, very great, and I like it a lot, and the characters are great. Now Fumi is really good. Him and Raftalia's relationship and the way they both help each other to get over their trauma is nice, and Theo, I think her name's Theo or Philo or something. She's great. She's an absolute cutie. I love her. Show bitch, E. It's just a bad show. It's a fetish show. It's a fan service show. I watched it because I think my friend wanted me to watch it because he thought it was really funny. It's like just this comedy fan service-y show. And my friend wanted me to watch it, and so I did, and then it was bad, and I dropped it after like 2 episodes. I didn't really enjoy it. I honestly, I wouldn't have watched it on my own. It was literally just because my friend was like, oh, you should watch it, it's good, it's funny, and never trusted. Actually, I did trust his opinion again multiple times, because sometimes he was right, but also sometimes he was wrong. For instance, he thinks Psycho Pass Season 2 is good, but he also was the one who introduced me to Fate, and Fate is pretty great, so who knows. Here we have Sugar Chara. Just gonna chuck that in C. I like a lot about Sugar Chara. It has really nice designs. It is really nice. Yeah, mainly designs. Its character design is just fucking great. Alright. It's got some good characters. I like that it actually progresses. Like, I dropped it like maybe under halfway through the first season. And even then, they already got to a point where, like, the upper graduates, like, had to leave, and so, like, 2 main characters were, like, leaving the school and, like, stopping being main characters, and I'm like, damn. Shows like this usually don't have the balls to do stuff like that, especially not this early on, so, I mean, that was a nice touch. Sugar Chara is fairly good. It's a pretty typical magical girl show, for, like, younger audiences, and I mean, I did like it a lot when I watched it. I just eventually didn't have the motivation to get it done, because there's so many episodes, and I just was kind of like, yeah, I've gotten the vibe of this show, it's nice, but it's a bit long, and it's a bit slow for that, for this length. A lot of episodic stuff. I don't know. I mean, the people that love it really love it, and apparently it gets really good in the later seasons as well. Except for the last one. Apparently the last season, like, sucks, but... I don't know, man. I kind of wish I had watched more of it, and maybe someday I will. Like I've said before, a dropped list isn't like a I can never watch this again list. It just means for now, it's dropped. Maybe one day it won't be. I can always go back to it if I need to. But yeah, for now I'm just gonna leave Sugar Char and C dropped because it's kind of mid. But yeah, character designs, fucking top notch. Also, it's OP. The OP for Sugar Char, oh my god, it's so good. Such a good OP. Anyway. Skate the Infinite. Do you get it? Get it? Skate. See, because it's an 8, but if you put the 8 sideways, it becomes infinite. So it's SK8, but also infinite. Skate the Infinite. Whatever. I always thought that title was kind of funny. This is a skateboard anime. It's done by Bones, and it's pretty good. It's also a boy love show, but it's like, you know, it's like Haikyuu or Prince of Tennis or anything where, yeah, there's pretty boys, and but they don't really focus on just that. They still focus on being a really good story, and Skate's great. I think it actually does pull off its emotional beats really well, and its character arcs and all that stuff. It does it really well, and also the skateboarding is pretty damn cool. I mean, it's done by Bones, so there are some pretty Sakuga moments in there. There's also some fairly bad CG moments, but for the most part, it's not too distracting, and it mostly just, I mean, when it goes like, no CG, just does crazy shit with skateboards, it's like, damn, like, it does some pretty really cool stuff. The OP and ED are fantastic. Some of the best from last year. Both the OP and ED are like easily in my top 5 OP and EDs of last year, which I still need to make. I still need to finish the OPs. I haven't factored in the summer OPs yet to my list, except for Komi-san. There's a bunch of top 5 stuff from last year that I also need to make. So much shit I need to do when it becomes a new year. Anyway, yeah, Skate's fucking great. It's really great. And the main two characters are definitely gay. They, like, basically do all but outright confirm it. They confirm that the two do love each other, at least. Yeah, and there's a lot of great emotional like, emotions that come from that. Really good emotional scenes. And even entire episodes that are, like, become tier list YouTuber. Well, the other thing isn't even a tier list, it's just a top 5. Like, there is no top 5 here, there's just an S tier. Which is why I like tier lists. Like, if I wanted to just list all the anime in a set order, I'd just make a list, I wouldn't make a tier list. That's why I don't do the organized horizontally. I don't want to do each thing individually, that'll take... I just would never be satisfied, because I'd be like, oh, but move this way, oh, but I want that one to be above that one, but not that one, but this one, but this... Tier lists. Makes it way easier. They're in groups, not individual. But also, no. So, first of all, those aren't tier lists, those other things I'm doing. But also, God, no, I will never become just tier lists. That would be the worst fate. That would be a terrible fate. I like doing this tier list at the end of each year. And sometimes I'll occasionally do others just for fun. But, God, doing nothing but tier lists for the rest of my life sounds like hell. Man, it is so fucking hot in here, and it's only gonna get hotter. It's only 4. Jesus fuck. Alright, I don't think I'll be able to make it, boys. If I kept pushing on, I might actually be able to get this all done in this stream, but I don't think I'm gonna make it with this fucking heat. I might have to stop once we're done with the S's. I'll push on for now. Slimy Sakai is great. It's a lot like... don't know, Dr. Stone and Fire Force and Shield Hero. Just a really good, solid show. Extremely sweaty otaku room. Yeah, pretty much. It's just so hot. I hate summer. This house is like way colder on the inside than the outside. But it's still so hot. But you can really tell in winter. In winter, this house gets so colder than it is outside. Like, you go outside in the cool air outside, and you'd still be like, oh yeah, that's not as cold as inside the house. And so I love that, because then I can just, you know, I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed and it's freezing, but then I just put on I just, like, put on a really warm jumper, put on tracksuit pants, put on warm woolly socks, and I'm good to go, and I can just stay nice and, you know, kind of have that cool air, and in a situation where I never get so hot that I start sweating, but I'm also just a nice temperature that can just chill. And if it gets hotter, I can, you know, take off the jumper or whatever. And if it gets even colder, I can get blankets or do whatever. Like, I can always just keep myself at the right temperature that I want to be at. If I want to be cold, I can be cold. If I want to be boiling hot, I can make that happen. But when it's summer, I'm just uncomfortable always, regardless of what I want. I hate it. Anyone who likes summer, I'm sorry, but you're seasonally challenged. Anyway, yeah, Slimy Isekai is just great. A lot of characters, very expansive cast in a good way. It's just constantly evolving. A lot of people didn't like the latest season because it got very talky talk. A lot of meetings. Meetings that last for like 6 episodes and are a lot of talking and like political stuff and setting up plans. But honestly, I like it more now than I did back when it wasn't doing that. Honestly, and also the like few episodes of action we do get were kind of bad. The episode of the like 2 episode, well, more like the 1 episode of action towards the end was pretty good, but for the most part, most of the action, I was just like, this isn't good. I wish they'd go back to sitting around a table talking. like go back to talking. That shit was super fucking interesting. Yeah, it does it really well. It's very much like, it started out very much not what it is now, but it's very much become this like big political drama with a just ton of moving parts and a bunch of really cool, interesting main characters to explore that story with, and I love it. It's a very solid A tier. Slimy Isekai is fucking great, and it just keeps getting better with each season. Sonny Boy S, are you here, Ray? Are you here, Ray? Fucking watch Sonny Boy, you absolute bastard. Maybe you already have. I know you were planning on it. Watch it. It's so fucking good. Sonny Boy is great. I fucking love Sonny Boy. It aired this year, the year that just finished. So damn good. So damn good. It starts out like pretty good in the first episode, and it's basically Floating Classroom. It like literally just is Floating Classroom basically, but then it switcheroos it up, and it like just becomes like crazy, and it just keeps getting better. There's so many like ideas that it explores. There's so many interesting visuals. Like, visually, this is maybe the most visually interesting anime I've ever seen. Not to say it's like better animated than some stuff, but just like the way it plays with visuals and all the different things it's willing to do and try is just, it's so good and interesting. I fucking love it. It's so good, and it has so many ideas that it explores at such a fast pace as well. Like, this thing does not slow down, and it skips a lot of time in between episodes because it doesn't want to deal with the bullshit. It's like, yeah, no, fuck it, just go to the next interesting thing that happens, and it's just so good. It's so good. The way the story progresses, the way the people change, the way it plays with time and space and parallel universes, and all the visuals that come along with that, and all the cool different stuff it's just so good. It's like it's like it's an original anime. It's directed by Shingo. Like, they basically just, Shingo was just allowed to do whatever the fuck he wanted, and he's like, what can I do that'll make it be the most visually interesting, and I can do a bunch of crazy cool animation stuff with it. And that's basically what he did. And it's fucking great. I love it. And all the ideas are like so good and interesting, and a lot of the characters are really, mainly the main two characters are really fucking great. I love them. I also love those other two that are kind of main characters. They're also great. There's a few other great characters, and there's just, yeah, there's so many wild, crazy ideas. It's like, it's absurd. Like, you watch it, you're like, this is like crazy, but it's so good because of it, because it just explores so much, and it's also interesting. And I love Sunny Boy. Sunny Boy's fucking fantastic. So good. Easily Shingo's best work thus far. Fucking love it. Which makes me even more excited for the fact that he's directing Time Travel Blues. Can't fucking wait for that. Even though it's on goddamn Disney Plus. So is Black Rock Shooter. God fucking damn it. Next season, I'm gonna have to get fucking Disney Plus to watch out those animes. Space Patrol Luluco, probably a B. Space Patrol Luluco is really good. It's a really good trigger show. It's a really good trigger show that's basically paying homage to old trigger shows that came before it. Because obviously at the end, she becomes Trigger-chan. And yeah, like each, you know, it's her going to a bunch of different... It's a short, but it's like a really good one. Really well made, really well directed, you know. She goes to a bunch of different worlds, and like each one is a reference to a different trigger show. She goes to Little Witch Academia world, she goes to like a Kill la Kill one, she goes to others that names I can't remember. It's a fucking great show. And yeah, I don't know, it's just a short that like it does things really well and concise. It doesn't waste your fucking time. It just does what it does in a really short time, but really well. And has a great fucking ED. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just really good. It's been a long time since I watched it, though. Because I also watched it, like, all in one sitting, basically. Spirited Away is S tier. Fucking... Let's put it with the others. Let's put it with the other Ghiblis. There it is. Spirited Away is fucking fantastic. Easily the second best Ghibli movie out there. It's better than Ponyo, but it's not better than Lapida. Lapida's too fucking good. But Spirited Away is obviously really good. Generic take, you know, no hot take here. The coldest of cold takes, guys. Spirited Away is good. Imagine that. But yeah, Spirited Away is fucking fantastic. I don't know. What do you want me to say? It's fucking Spirited Away. Everyone knows how good it is. I'm so hot. My brain is like collapsing in on itself. Am I gonna make it? I hope I make it. Oh, God, there's so much new stuff in this row though. Let's keep going. Alright, Star Wars Visions. Probably a B. Part of me wants to put it in A because some episodes are A-worthy, but the problem is there's also a lot of episodes that are not A-worthy. Star Wars Visions is, for the mostly has good episodes, but I think the average, yeah, is probably B. They probably most of them would be in B. There's a good number below B, but there's also a good number that would be A for sure, so I think B is a pretty good spot for Star Wars Visions. You know, this is like Disney, like, flexing, basically, because they're like, yep, we have enough money that we can get a bunch of different directors and a bunch of different studios to all be the part of the one project, where they each just make an episode. Because we can be like, hey, want to make Star Wars? And of course, anyone who is, like, fucking a creative and into anime, like, yeah, they're probably into Star Wars, and they're gonna go, yes, I would like to make a Star Wars, please. And Disney's like, also, we're Disney, so we're gonna give you a fuck ton of money, and you can make it really high quality. And they're like, yes, please, let me do this right now. But hey, Disney putting money into the anime industry, I'm fine with that. Because they're not buying studios or anything. They're just, like, you know, they're getting stuff on Disney Plus that they're just licensing. They just own the streaming rights to it. Or they are giving money to studios to make stuff for IPs they own. They're not buying up anime studios, they're just putting money into the anime industry. And since they have a fuck ton of it, fine with me if a portion of that's going into anime. And yeah, Star Wars Visions is fucking great. There's some really great episodes in there. In particular, the one where the girl has to take the lightsabers to a group of like Jedi, and then she gets there and all of them except for like one turn out to be evil, and her and the like 2 other good Jedi there like have this huge fucking lightsaber battle. And heck, on her way there, she even has a great lightsaber battle at one point. That episode in particular was fucking fantastic. I think it might be my favorite one, but I can't remember all of them exactly. The first one's really good. It's like basically in fucking samurai, like really old style samurai tale. It's even done in like all in black and white. But it, you know, it has a lightsaber fight at the end instead of a samurai fight. Star Wars Visions is really good. It's really great. I definitely recommend checking it out. Second episode's not great, but get past that one and pretty much everything except the episode is better than the second episode at least. Steins Gate, that's an S tier. Steins Gate's fucking fantastic. A great show. The middle part is a little but it starts out strong. Really great dialogue, great characters, great you know, really interesting high concept ideas. It's really fun and interesting at the start. A lot of conspiracy theory like stuff. Like the fucking bad guys are Stern. Like no one knows who that is except for weirdos on the fucking internet. So I mean, it's just great. Like the show fucking gets it, man. It gets it. So good. Great dialogue, great characters, great concepts. And then the middle gets a little meh with like all the episodes that are like basically just there to show you kind of that the other characters have routes in the visual novel and whatever. That's a consequence of it once being a visual novel. Those aren't great episodes. But then after that is when it becomes a fucking time travel thriller, and at that point it's fucking insane and great and just keeps being as good as it was early on. A lot of great setup into other great stuff. There's a friend of mine who dislikes Steins Gate, right? He dropped it after a few episodes, and when I asked him why, he said because it's poorly written. And, you know, obviously everyone talks about how greatly written Steins Gate is, so that seems like a weird comment. And I was like, what do you mean poorly written? And then he's like, it doesn't explain anything. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's literally is that you don't understand it. And I'm like, you're not meant to know what's going on. Early on the show is confusing because even the characters don't know. It's not like the characters know what's going on, but the audience doesn't. Like, no. You know just as much as the character knows. And the whole point of, like a whole early on part is, yeah, figuring out how this technology works, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And then once all that setup's out of the way, it fucking becomes a thriller with a fucking time travel thriller that's, like, insane. Like, yeah, the first half is a lot of not knowing what's going on, but that's part of what makes it good. Because you're, like, figuring out this mystery, basically. But that's why he hates it. He hates it because they don't explain everything to him right away on a silver platter. And I'm like, okay, yeah. That explains why you like all those shitty isekais. Like, he says, like, oh no, I know their shit. And I'm like, yeah, I know you know their shit, but you also like them. Because you finished them. He's like, oh no, I speed them up to finish them. And I'm like, but you dropped a Steins Gate. You didn't speed it up and finish it. You dropped it. Which shows that you actually do like those fucking isekai crap. Because they're like for basic ass bitches like you. Where everything just gets fucking handed to you on a silver platter and explained. The one time the show doesn't fucking explain everything to him and he's like, oh, that's bad writing. Not me being a dumbass. Here is Stella. Is this Stella no Maho? I think. Magic of Stella. That's what it's called, right? I think that's what it's called. This is a weird show. I wanted to rewatch it a while ago, but it was on Daisuke, and Daisuke got taken down. They went under because they didn't have a payment option. Daisuke was weird. Daisuke was like an English, like a streaming service to countries that speak English, but it was run out of Japan. and there was no, it had ads, like you had to watch ads with the free version, but that's the thing, there was no paid version. There was just the free version with ads, so you had to watch ads no matter what, and I think that's why it went under. But anyway, it was the only thing that had this show. I at least got to watch it before it went down. It also had Yurika Kubo's talk show, which I thought was really cool. Like, each week they'd put up the new episode, and they would only keep, like, the current episode and the last one on at any moment, so you had to, like, keep up with it to keep watching everything. But it's also a talk show, so it doesn't matter when you watch it. But that was really cool that it had that. I did, like, with English subtitles. So that was really cool. I watched a handful of that. That was a good time. More talk shows need to have, with like voice actors and stuff in Japan, need to have official English subtitle releases so that I can read them. I'll learn Japanese eventually, but for now I can't understand it, so give me official subtitles so I can still support it. Because I'm not gonna go back. Shit comes out like 50 fucking come out every day. I'm not gonna like go back and check all the ones that interest me once I do learn Japanese. So I'm just gonna miss out on all that sweet improv voice actors talking content. What the fuck what show was I even talking about? Right, Stella no Maho. I didn't talk about it at all. Yeah, it's like set in high school, they make video games. It's pretty good. All the characters are fairly good. It's interesting seeing all of them like work on different parts of like video games. It's like interesting because they're like with New Game they're like a whole studio. With this they're basically indie developers where like one person just does the music, one person does the programming, one person does the art. Stuff like that. You know, it's just like there's just like 4 or 5 of them. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like cute slice of life stuff, but also they're making a game in there, and anime shenanigans ensue. What do you want from me? Strike Witches, which... Did I not give Brave Witches its own entry? I guess it's technically a sequel. So that means this covers Season 1 of Strike Witches and Season 1 of Brave Witches. That's it. I know there's like a bajillion other content, but I find Strike Witches kind of hard to watch. I'll usually, when I do watch it, just watch one episode at a time. I think it's very unbingeable, which probably just means it's bad, but I'm putting it in C anyway. Strike Witches is alright. It has its moments. It has its good episodes. It has a lot of interesting ideas, especially introduced in Brave Witches. Like, I think it kind of realized that it was a bit plain in Strike Witches, so in Brave Witches it introduces a bunch of interesting stuff, which, you know, if expanded on in later seasons, which I assume it is, can become really interesting world-building elements. I don't know, Brave Witches just opens it up a lot more and actually gets me excited for future seasons, but Strike Witches is still... I find it a little hard to watch. Like I said, I'll only watch one episode at a time when I do watch it, and then I'll like not watch any for like 2 weeks, and then I'll just watch like one more. That's kind of how I got through Brave Witches. I actually watched Strike Witches fairly fastly, but Brave Witches took me quite a bit of time. But yeah, I mean, it can be good when it wants to be good. It's weird that they never give the girls pants. It kind of makes for like... I feel like a lot of people disregard it because of that, but it has good action, has good characters, has good emotional moments, a lot of interesting systems, like the special eyes and the different magic and the like different styles of like the enemies and stuff like that. It's it can be a good time. When it's good, it's really good, but sometimes it is just downright boring, which is kind of why it sits in C, because sometimes I hate it. And then sometimes I'm like, damn, this show actually can go kind of hard. So, I don't know, man. Is what it is. Summer Wars is pretty great. Would I put it in A or would I put it in B? Hmm. I'll chuck it in B. Summer Wars is really good. Um, Mamoru Hosoda is really good, but I mean, Our War Game is still his greatest movie, and Summer Wars is basically just Our War Game, but not as good. It has better animated parts, and it's longer, but Our War Game is just so, like, Digimon Our War Game is so fucking good. And this is just, yeah, it's just not as good, a not as good version of that, really. It's still really good, though, really solid movie, I do enjoy it. It does have some extra elements, mainly the family element, that's, like, a big deal about it, and that is really fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, I like Summer Wars. B is still good, I just, yeah, not A tier. Doesn't quite get there. War Game does. Super Crooks, D. D. Yeah, D. Mainly because it's just a disappointment. It starts out really good. I think the first episode is really good. And then everything after that is never as good as the first episode. If they had just continued on from what the first episode sets up, it'd be really good, but instead they do episode 1, and then they're just like, alright, time skip a bunch of times forward, and everything that happened in episode 1 doesn't even matter anymore. And it's like, why? There's so many interesting things you set up, and now they just don't exist. Like, what are you talking about? Episode 1, if they just continued on with that, that could have been actually really interesting and cool. But instead, it's a really generic, boring, uninteresting heist thing. I mean, it's not even a generic heist film, because heist films are cool. This one doesn't even do the heist rights. They're really short and uninteresting and just kind of happen, and I don't know, it's a lot of just brute force stuff as well. It's just, I don't know, it's not that interesting or smart or, I don't know, it's just a fairly boring heist film, even though it's a heist film with superpowers. Because it's not just one big heist, it's like 3 mini heists, and each of them just take like an episode to do, so and then there's like a lot of in-between time that's like, you know, heist, build up to the heist stuff, which is always boring, but it has to do that multiple times over, because again, it's multiple heists, not just one. Super Crooks is pretty boring and a real letdown. Episode 1 is good, it has some good action and fight scenes, but for the most part, it's pretty boring. Super Cub is A tier. Kinda hard to explain why I love Super Cub so much. Something about it just clicks with me, you know? I don't even think it's anything that it does phenomenally well. It just works for me, you know? I just like it. I like the characters. I like the Iyashikei vibes. I like the little bit of tense drama they throw in at the end. I like the emotions. I mean the characters are the highlight here. The characters are so good, and I don't know. There's just something about Super Cub. I find it hard to explain why I like it so much, but it just works. All of this just works. Yeah, Super Cub is fucking fantastic. And these 2 main characters are dating, and you can't convince me they're not. Because at one point, when all 3 of the main characters, they're at her house, and she comes out naked, and this chick here doesn't bat an eye. The chick who owns the house, she doesn't bat an eye. She sees that she's naked, and she's just like, yep, nothing weird about that. And then, this 3rd girl freaks out, because she's like, whoa, you're naked. And then this girl goes like, oh, right, yeah, you should put clothes on. And then she, like, complains, and she's like, what? And so I'm like, see? They're used to it. They walk around in each other's apartments naked. It's only because this 3rd wheel is here that she puts on any clothes. So they're dating, and you can't convince me otherwise. Yeah, this show's just bad. It's a bad, ecchi show. I like really bad fan service show that's pretty boring. It has childhood friends, which is like they have a kind of sweet moment in episode 2, but then the focus is just a bit too much on fan service. I dropped it like part way through episode 4, I think. It's like Super HX Arrows or whatever. I mean, it's a clever title, but it's a dumb show. I regret starting it. I shouldn't have. Which is why I then dropped it really quick. Alright, final S. When supernatural battles became commonplace. This is really good. I'm gonna chuck this in A tier. There's a lot of people that dislike this show. And I think it's because they thought it was different from what it was. I mean, it's called When Supernatural Battles Became Commonplace. It's done by Trigger. I think people were expecting an action show, with supernatural battles. It's not that at all. It's a slice of life comedy where the characters just happen to have superpowers. And also it has romance elements, actually. There's like a love triangle. I think it's bigger than a triangle, actually, but whatever, you get the idea. And so yeah, it's not an action thing, even though it's called When Supernatural Battles Became Commonplace. But despite that, I think it's really good. Like, I mean, if you engage with it on its level and you don't go in expecting it to be something else, and you just take it for what it is, it's really good at what it is, you know, as long as you don't just disdain that genre. But, yeah, I mean, this show's fucking great. It's really well animated, really good character designs, really good dialogue. It's, like, very Chuny focused. There's, like, 2 characters that are Chunies in the show. And they really go ham on the fucking Chuny Bear shit. There's one great episode where... So these 2 are childhood friends, and she has a crush on him. But she never understands all these Chuny stuff, you know? He's really into it. He's really right in the middle of that stuff. And she doesn't understand any of it. But she likes him, and so she tries to hang out with him. But she realizes he's losing him to this chick because she's also, like, a Chuny. She's better at, like, hiding it, but she, like, gets it still, so the 2 of them, like, kind of get along in relation to that kind of stuff. And so she's worried she's losing a childhood friend that she loves. And there's this great moment where he's, like, talking on the phone with the other chick, I think in text messages, though, and, like, he's saying a bunch of Chuny shit, and she's cooking dinner for him at his house, and she loses it. It's such a good line. Like, the whole speech is, like, just great. She gives this great big speech. She basically lists off every Chuny-related thing, and then explains why, no, they're not cool, they're actually lame as fuck, and I don't understand you at all, and, like, please stop just talking like this, I don't get it, I don't get you, and, yeah, it's just this very, like, really well voiced acted speech where she just goes all out. It's so well done. It's a great speech. It's a great voice performance. It's a great moment. That's like always the first thing I remember when I think of this show. The student council president chick is absolutely fucking adorable. She's the best. She's a babe. I love her. Super cute. Especially when she's fawning over the main dude. Super cute moments there. And some great gifts. Great gift potential in there. The show also hit me a little hard. There's a few emotional arcs in there that struck really close to home in a way I didn't expect. And just reminded me of some really sad and dark times in my past. And so that really got to me. You know, it handled them well, and it just made me cry. It really, like, struck a chord with me, because I could really relate, and I could see, like... I don't know, I just saw them reach a happy end with something, and it reminded me of stuff in the past where a happy end was not reached, and it got to me, man. But, I mean, I'm not gonna go into that, because it's some really heavy shit, but yeah, this show hit me. This show hit me in a hard way, and that made me just, like, I don't know, just feel a lot more for it, because it really got me to think about some stuff. Anyway, it's a great fucking show. Absolutely phenomenal. The speech by the chick I think if you look up the quote, you'll actually be able to find the quote. It's really good. Lists, like, every Chuny thing ever and why it's lame. Like, she talks about how not being able to control your powers is actually super fucking lame, and maybe it would be cooler if you actually had responsibility and could use your power. And then she's like, why is your arm hurting cool? Why is blood cool? Blood isn't cool. Blood means somebody's hurt. It's like a bunch of stuff like that. It's a really great speech. If you can actually find the episode and watch it, though, that would be better, because the voice performance is also fucking phenomenal. Really great stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now, because I feel like I'm gonna die. Despite me continuing to drink, my throat is getting dry at an incredibly fast rate. I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. Because the air is dry, because it's hot. I mean, I went for 3 hours. Good progress. Will basically definitely be one more. Like, at this point, it will 100% be just one more. If I went for another 3 hours, I could probably get it done if I did a full, like, 6-hour stream, but it's getting hot in here. I'm a little lightheaded. My throat's getting dry quick. I'm freaking out. It's only gonna get hotter. Like, it's not even the hottest point of the day yet. We still got like another hour and a half of it getting even hotter before it starts to cool down at all. So probably not gonna make it if I did try, because I'm on like the verge of dehydration here, and or heat stroke or something. I don't know, man. I need to get out of this room. It's cooler in the rest of the house. This room's just gotten hot because it's got 2 windows, and it's and I've had to shut the door to like do the stream, and all my heat is getting trapped in here now and stuff. I have the window open, but when it's hot like this, opening the window basically does nothing. So yeah, I'll have to end it for now. Thank you for sitting through yet another one of these insanely way too long anime tier list streams. One more, and then it will be done. We've gone for like 19 hours at this point, so it's gonna be more than 20 hours, which is fucking absurd, but whatever. I will see you guys next time, which will be hopefully tomorrow, if I don't feel too shitty about the heat. Stay sweaty. You all stay sweaty out there. Stay frosty. Signing out from the sweaty otaku room and the cathedral shadows. See you all next time. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I am going to try and not get heat stroke.